Not even queen, I don't like to use that word. Empresses, the goddesses, right? Yeah. All right. Brother Lee, how you go down?
I'm doing good, God.
Doing good, brother. Good. Just want to let you know that coming up on April 13th, I think I gave everybody a flyer. This is not only a council, first council of elders. Now, everybody got elders in our head, Taj here, and people that I know that I would put on. But it costs a lot of money just to bring this all along. That's all. But I'm going to continue with it, but we're trying to do more off-the-grid conversations with our children next. We're tired of talking and putting it just online and putting it out there. Sometimes we got to shut off the cameras. Sometimes we got to shut it down, go in the basement. Like we used to do in the dojo days with Moses Power, we used to shut down everything. And we fight and beat up on each other back in the day and train for 6 hours straight. So the next time we do a council, because this council is just the start of something about our education, about our conscious, so-called conscious community, and how we need to work it out. So we got Dr. Ray Higgins coming in, we got Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, we got Professor James Small, Booker T. Coleman, and Kuya Ford, and Dr. Ben will be making his first guest appearance that day. And Dr. Ben is real sharp. He's not going to say anything, but he's going to be there just to be acknowledged and be a part of the family. So if y'all can make it out, we do have tickets available. Our tickets available on my table, and it's only $20 in advance. And that's my brother. Papa Higher Walker, Booker T. Coleman is the one that inspired me to do this. And of course, just growing up in different communities, that inspired me also. I used to be in the outside community in various other places when I was younger. So also on April 27th, we have the first annual New Covenant UFO conference dedicated to melanated people, because we're tired of what's going on in National Geographic, what's going on in, of course, yeah, we're going to dump that, baby. I like that. We're so tired of what they say in the Discovery Channel, so we're going to make it happen at the UFO conference at the National Black Theater with Phil Valentine, Dr. Blair, Brother Polite, and Brother Ross Beck from out of Philadelphia. Also, on May the 4th, we got Dr. Blair doing something in Nicholas, and I'm featuring a new speaker called Dr. Angela, who is our own biologist in our community, and another health practitioner, but we need to get these sisters out there that have the information, that want to teach, and bring them out to teach, because they have the knowledge. They were our first teachers, so we got to respect the first teachers. So start bringing these sisters out more if we can, all right? Also, on June the 1st, we have the Irritated Genie. Now, if y'all don't know who Irritated Genie was, he was in battling with he was in Homeland Security. He was like a real spook. And then they caught his backside, put him out on television, Fox News, everything. He got fired, but he's still been teaching and doing what he got to do. So he's going to be teaching on the efeminization of our brothers and what's going on in our community with our young people, and why they're trying to shut down the young boys so they can come and take our women as usual, like they've been doing from back in the day. So we need to get our warriorship up. We need to get this warriorship going. We need to start training again in the dojos. If you need to know where a dojo is, come to my table. I got all kinds of information on dojos from Bronx all the way to Brooklyn. If you want to train with us, you want to train underground, 52 blocks, whatever you want to train, I got connections to everybody in that realm. Also, the last but not least, on June 15th, my Father's Day and Family Day celebration with Reverend Phil Valentine and his wife coming together, Nalani Valentine. I'm so happy that they're going to be here. So if you can make it out, please come on out. That's going to be at the National Black Theater, the National quote-unquote Black Theater on June the 15th. Yeah, I got to say National quote-unquote Black Theater. So, it'll make you laugh. So what my brother had, you want to bring him up or you want me to bring him? You want me to bring Dr. Ali up? Oh, see, now you're making me do what I love to do, see. And see, without any further ado, I got to pick up black magi, put black Brooklyn magi, or quote-unquote, just like Brooklyn magi. Brooklyn magi, you know how I'm going. I got to tell y'all who you got to support each other, support all our elders, support even if you ask somebody, you got to support somebody. Whoever these are what we're doing, I don't care if they're doing debates, whatever they're doing, it's about getting and disseminating information to all the people in any way you can. Even Dr. Khaled said, debates are good because it brings information to the people, regardless of what you're doing and how you're doing. I just want to get some of the Europeans at the table and let's battle some of them. That's all I want to do, personally. That's it, that's how I feel. So, let me do how I do it on that. It's the square God, brother. Now, without any further ado, my brother that's coming in all over the South Carolina, that is a mission of the force. And we are bring this brother on, not only does he teach on Qigong and all different types of other defensive laws for the
Thank God. All right, can everyone hear me? Yeah. All right, all right. Yep. All right, yeah, we got it now, thanks. All right, peace, peace, everyone. How y'all doing? All right, I'm Dr. Alim Bey, and we're going to get into some real pertinent information tonight. Assalamu alaikum, Islam, Alafia, Yahoo, Black Power, Sutek, Islam. I think I said that one already, but we're going to get into it. Peace, everyone. All right, so we're going to be dealing tonight with Zodiacal science and basic Moorish cosmology. So we're going to be getting into a lot of information. So we're going to start first with the dark matter and dark energy or black energy. Of course, we know dark matter is matter that emits or reflects minimum to no light, but does have a gravitational influence. Evidence from dark matter appears to be present in the motion of the stars in the galaxy, the orbit of galaxies and galaxy clusters, the temperature of intercluster gas in galaxy clusters, the gravitational lensing of distant galaxies. Some possible types of dark matter includes massive, compact, hollow objects. All right, hollow objects. All right, hollow, of course, is the Greco-Roman derivative of the word helios, which means sun. All right, so it means sun object. All right, so some of these suns or stars, of course, that's what it's referring to. And there are also subatomic particles that have extremely small mass, but exist in great quantities. All right, neutrinos are examples of such particles. Quarks within quantum physics is also part of that too. Continue on. And as you've seen, it makes up about 70% this dark energy, all right, and about 26% dark matter, and the rest is what we call the visible spectrum, all right. Now, this is a saying in which that the Buddha said, all is illusion. He isn't saying that nothing is real. He's saying that your mind projection onto reality or illusions. He's saying that the elements in the universe that forms every physical thing we see, solid, liquid, and gas, if these taken down to a subatomic level, they don't exist or they can't be identified. All right? Therefore, all we see is an illusion because its shapes or form, not its true essence. All right? So in other words, what he's saying is, we got to continue on. We got a good look right here. Let's look at it like this. We have multiple verses, or multiverses. All right? You have the grand universe. All right? You have the major sectors, the minor sectors, the local universe, constellations, local systems, and then the solar system. All right? Continue on. All right, the void, the infinite supercomputer, aka the omnipotent mind, and the stars or thoughts. This is how your mind works. Through meditation, you can ignite your pineal gland into a superstar or a supernova, hence the Big Bang. All right, continue on. Now, some of these slides you will see come from my former student, Brother Jason, right here. And you can go to his website, Get Out the Box TV. All right. Now, God is energy, a vibrating relative to frequency. All right. God is mind. Mind is totality. Right. Man is mind. As a matter of fact, you go to Webster's Dictionary, the word man, when you look it up, it says to think. So it's not even a gender. It just simply means to think. All right, so man is consciousness. Continue on. All right, so as you see here to the left, from the wormhole to the 4 levels of the genome DNA molecule, you actually see how energy arrived from the wormhole, hence a black hole. Energy is actually transmitted through a black hole. There's a black hole that sits directly at the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, all right? Right through what we call Alcyon, which is the central star, you can see what we call a black hole. Energy, light, which is message codes, is transferred through that black hole, all right? And that light or information escapes in order to generate the conscious level in this particular Milky Way galaxy. But as you see here, hold up, you see the arrival of the energy, you see the formation of the nucleus, the chromosomes, as well as also the DNA, as well as all of that, the 4 amino acids, in which that we'll get into. And as you see here, it states specifically that it's coming from the Milky Way, which is actually Alcyon, which is part of the Pleiades, all right? And it says, which is located 48,000 light years from the center of the Milky Way, and it revolves around the Pleiades, all right? That's where the Earth is, and it says 500 light years from Earth, every 25,000, approximately 900 years, we travel around, all right? Now, your auric field, which is your energetic body, all right, receive this energy, all right? As you see, cosmic chi, as it goes through the various planets, all right, from the sun, as you see here, and that energy flows in an elliptical pattern, just like your DNA, just like your Kundalini, all right? This is how we receive energy. Continue on. All right, now, many of us have seen this hieroglyphic, or what we refer to meter, in which that you will see the mu, which is the water element. You'll see the circular, which is the sun, which is also, as you see here, the child. You also will see, of course, the womb, which is the top part of the Ankh. The Ankh means the source or the key of life. You see the phallic symbol coming up. This area here symbolizes the ovaries within the woman. And so therefore, all of these in conjunction, this means the amniotic fluids. This here, which is the cellular division, the blasula pore, is in the sac of water, hence the breaking of the woman, water, and hence come forth life. You will see what's going on here in a second. Continue on. All right, so the moment that the sperm fertilizes the eggs, actually you begin the dying process. You was alive before that moment. Santos Bonacci. Now, this is what he means by that, is that even in the structuring of DNA, of life within the womb, as well as also the spinning of the galaxies, the seashells on the ocean, your fingerprints, everything spirals. Everything is circular. Everything comes in that format that show forth energy. Now check this out. Continue on. All right, here's another example of that and how we made in the image and after the likeness. Hence we are the universal miniature form. Every part of our body is based on the same aspect of what we see outside is nothing more than what is already inside of us. As you see here, the brain cells equivalent to the universe, birth of a star, death of a star, as well as also our eyes to the nebula, in particular the Orion Nebula, where stars are born at. That's the closest one that we have that we can actually see and actually take. It sits directly behind the three stars in Orion's belt. All right. Now, the Milky Way galaxy in ancient Kemet was known as Arset Het Heru, all right, or Hathor. Within the biblical character, it becomes Hagar, all right. But here, Arset, Isis, her other name was Mary. It was actually spelled M-E-R-I. It becomes Mary within your Bible, or the Madonna, Queen of Heaven. Hence, this is who the Catholic Church worship to this day. All right, when they say do your 100 Hail Marys, or whatever the case is, for whatever sin, as Brother Abdullah already broke down to you, all right, whatever sin that you done committed, right, or thought you have. Here, let's continue on. This is who they're actually praying to, all right? In her other form, she's Mayat, which is the consort of Tahuti, which is also the moon god or deity or Neter, which is also the origin of the name of Yah, where we get the word Jah or Yahweh, all right, which is the Old Testament deity. His name is also Jehuti, where you get the word Jehuda, all right, which is the fourth child of Abraham, all right, or the grandson. And you got Abraham, you have Isaac, and then, of course, you have Jacob and his 12 sons, all right, and the fourth son is Judah, all right. So that's where that comes from, all right, is actually the word Judah and the word Jehuti, as well as also the word Jew is stemming from these particular principles that they are claiming that they are following. All right, let's go. These are the principles. Now, Jehuti, other name is Ayah. Ayah becomes the word Allah. Hence, the moon god also. That's nothing more than the form of Tahuti. Once again, now look at the 7 principles. The mind, which is mentalism, the all is mind and everything in the universe is mental. Correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. Vibration, nothing is stationary, everything vibrates. Polarity, everything has its double or what appears to be an opposite. We call it complementary. All right, rhythm, ebb and flow, core reaction. All right, cause and effect, which is, of course, karma, what goes around comes around. All right, generation, which is gender or sex. Everything has an animated, inanimated, male and feminine, aggressive, passive, all right, formation. Now, as we said, our other form is Mayat, all right? She's the twin sister to Tahuti. Of course, we know that she has her 7 principles, all right? And of course, balance, justice, order, harmony, reciprocity, as well as also what we call freedom or aspect of love. All of it together is love. These are the same 5 basic principles that we find within the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, in which that love, true peace, freedom, and justice. These are nothing more than the laws of Mayat. Now, as you see, she's the one who brings forth the order from out of the chaos. All right, continue on. Now, this is important because these scales symbolizes the bringing forth of the balance, that order. And as you see on the left is the heart being weighed by the feather. The feather is actually Shu, all right, Shu. Shu within the ancient Kemetic teachings or ancient Temerian teachings means the personification of air. It's talking about the breath of life. All right, within the Moorish Science Temple teachings, we call it the holy breath. So the holy breath judges the heart or is being weighed against the heart. All right, the heart symbolizes your desires. All right, your attachments. If your attachments are heavier than the breath, all right, then you have to incarnate back here again. I give you a good or better understanding of that. If you are trapped in your 4 lower chakras, right? Heart, solar plexus, navel, genitals. If you're trapped, if the Kundalini is still trapped at the time that you pass form, you have to incarnate back here again. That's simple as it is. Because it was not lighter than your feather. The feather is symbolic to that Shu, that spirit, which is actually the Kundalini energy, as the brother was breaking down earlier. All right, Brother Abdullah broke that down beautifully. This is what the ancients was actually talking about. All right, this is what they was talking about. So that means that it has to be here. All right, and it has to make that transition to the throat chakra, to the third eye, and to the crown. It has to make the transition to the 3 higher bodies. That is what is called your immortal body. These 4 dies along with the physical body and dissolves after a time and return to what is called the realm of form. That means these are the elements in which that as you continue living or producing on earth, give the energy to produce children. This is the energy in which that helps form the children into existence for the next generation, is the energy in which that you dissipate. Now, at that particular level if your Kundalini does not raise above the heart chakra. All right, now what's the word chakra? The word chakra is a Sanskrit word which means the wheels of light, color, thought, and sound. That's what it means. All right, so every thought that you have resonates within a particular endocrine gland or chakra. All right, for example, let's put it like this. All right, if you're stressed out, that stress is penetrating the brain area. If you're angry, it penetrates the liver. Matter of fact, one outburst, 1 minute of anger shuts down your whole immune system for 6 hours. Okay? Just 1 minute, 6 hours. All right? So anger is stored in your liver. Fear is stored in your kidneys. Rejection is stored in your genital. Hatred is stored in the heart. So if you want to know what's going on with your physical body, just look at the symptoms. It's your emotional state. And so this is what is being weighed here, because when you pass form, you take that with you. This is why the ancients, the Buddhists, told us to be what? Detached. To attempt to be detached. Love, but be detached. In other words, don't become obsessed about anything. Because the moment you become obsessed, at the day of judgment, which is the day that you die, you will actually have a panoramic view of everything in which that happens from that moment of your death going back to the conception within the womb. You'll remember every single thought. And that's what judges you. That's what is inscribed upon your heart. There's an atom that is in your right ventricle, all right, of your heart. You have 4 chambers in your heart. In the right ventricle, there's an atom there in which that attaches what is called your silver cord, or within the Bible it's called your silver cord in Ecclesiastics, but it's called within the occult your ethereal cord. Okay? That cord attaches your soul to your body. At death, past form, is cut. All right? So this is what takes place. This is the 8 rules of reincarnation. Humans are always reborn, or almost always reborn as humans. A birthmark signifies an injury or a means of death prior to life. When a person, or when people have a strong will, they die suddenly, they may become ghosts, or what we call apparitions, or what we also refer to as astral entities. Okay? All of the good and bad karma enters the new body with our soul. Okay? That means if you don't get a chance to alleviate it, the reason for incarnation over and over again is for you to learn how to. All right? After death, we're not born immediately. We reside on what we call the dream world, or the astral plane. This is the world that you go to if you live to be 75 years old. All right? And you actually spend about 8 hours of sleep a night, right? 8 hours of 24 is what? A third. So you live to be 75, how many years, bingo, it's 25 years you was actually asleep. You was only 50 years walking on this realm. The other 25 years you was actually where? On the astral plane, or in the dream world. And that's the world that you go to after you leave this physical body, the one that you create for yourself, or are supposed to be creating for yourself. That's what you're supposed to be doing tonight, y'all. You're supposed to be creating the world that you want to go to. You don't believe me? Watch the movie Where Dreams May Come. Robin Williams. Very important movie. One of the best movies that you will ever see on this astral information. There's no other movie that's better than that. Okay? I promise you. Nor is it better because it teaches you also the science of incarnation. Because of his attachment to his wife and he went to go look for her, they both had to end up reincarnating. Because he still had attachments to her. Now, if he would have just detached himself and said, okay, she has to go through what she needs to go through, you know, and that's what Cuba Gooding Jr., if you remember him, he was trying to attempt to tell him that. All right, he was attempting to tell him that, but he would not listen. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to back up. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And so what you find out is that they, at the end, incarnated again, little children. This time, they was together, in their childhood. We don't know what happened next. They never bring up part 2. All right? But souls become more spiritual and wise through the progressive lives. Very few people are able to record their past life memories because we have not practiced what is called Qigong. In Qigong practice or Tai Chi practice, we tap right here at the back of the medulla oblongata. That is where your past lives are actually stored at. That's where your past lives are stored at, as your medulla oblongata. This is called the mouth of God in the occult or within the Kabbalah teachings. The mouth of God. All right? Matter of fact, the letter is within Hebrew, which is called gulp. Qoph. Gulp. Now, when you look at that letter, there's symbols that goes along with that letter. It is the back of the head. That's what it says, the back of the head. So you'll see the shape of the back of the head. Is also called the skull, or the place of the skull, in which that you get the word Calvary, the English transliteration, from the Aramaic Old Hebrew, which is called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, in which that they claim Jesus died on top of what? Golgotha, that he died at the place of the skull. Hence, when the Kundalini energy, when it raises up, the first place it hits is the medulla oblongata, in which they give you access to your personal Akashic records. It gives you the ability in order to tap into your universal library or connect to your oversoul. Hence, all your past lives and incarnations are located there. Also, by tapping that area at the back of the head, you begin to also develop what's called photographic memory. That means any place or any room or anyone in which that you see, you'll remember them. Name, face, probably phone numbers and everything else. All right? Because you have actually activated that back of the head area, that medulla oblongata. All right? Now, the communication between yourself and the ancestors is within. Be aware of your thoughts. Pay attention to your dreams. Observe the animals that appears in your life. Look at the signs, symbolisms, and the synchronicities that occur day to day. This is where the messages are found. Now, my wife and I live in the country, all right? Sometimes we see turkeys run across the road. We're like, hold up, yo, we gotta find out what the turkey mean. That was for no reason. Possum, okay, hold up. Rabbit, deer, every fox, coyote, every damn thing running across the road. So whatever it does, we have to go and look it up. There's a site called Shamanistic Animals. Shamanistic Animals. All right, put it into the Google engine search, and you will actually see, all right, what is actually taking place. All right. Now, when you see strange animals or animals in which that you don't see on an everyday basis, pay attention, because there's a message in which that is being relayed to you via the ancestors. That's the point. Okay? Sometimes they can't communicate to you in your dreams because sometimes you have too much electromagnetic fields going on in the home, or ELFs. All right? Too much going on. You don't unplug. You don't go into the state of what? Homeostasis. You don't go into that state. So you have too much stuff plugged up. At nighttime, you need to unplug as much possible, equipment. Turn off your computers, take the batteries out, whatever you need to do, all right? So you can get into that that dark matter, all right? That deep subconscious, what is called the infinite consciousness, all right? This is when you tap into the lower, or what we call the higher levels of consciousness, all right? Deeper levels of consciousness. Now, all right, I'm not gonna go too much over this. We're gonna continue on through the past the law stuff, because I know I won't have but so much time, and I don't want to take too much time up, but continue on.
That's what
All right, go back, go back. Go back. What you said, Doc? Oh, it was? Well, go back. I don't want to deprive anyone of a learning lesson. All right. All right, so we're going to see what happened, because as you seen, we was talking about you being a natural state, an organic state, a heavenly state manifested into an earthly form. However, while you was here, or while you are here, what happens is that there's something in which that should not happen. There's been a transforming of you from a natural person. And as you see here, natural person is a human being as opposed to an artificial or fictitious person such as a corporation. You've been made into a corporation. This is why artificial person here. An entity such as a corporation created by the law and given certain legal rights and duties of a human being. A being will or what? So that means regardless of the fact, all right, of you being a natural person, they have made you into an artificial person, number one, by means of having your name in all caps. All right, and so the straw man or straw man is homos, which means right here, a fictitious person, juristic person, legal person, Black's Law Dictionary. Now, so they took you from out of a natural state, which is a state of God, which is what? Having your inalienable rights or unalienable rights, as we refer to it as, right? You have unalienable rights in which that you have from God. All right, your God is your higher self. All right, that actually is your Lord and personal Savior. There is no God out there. The God is the actual template in which that your physical body is actually made from, which is actually from the thought forms of your mother and father during the time of conception. That becomes the entity in which that now houses your physical body. That is your higher self. It is called your soul. Your soul is embedded inside of your pineal gland. That is Allah in man. Okay? Because if I'm not mistaken, when you close your eyes, how is it possible for you can see images and these two eyes are closed? That means you must have another eye, right? It's occultly it's known as the third eye. We call it the first eye. But that eye gives you the ability to know to see everything in which that is here on this realm. And even more, right? So that means that eye is even greater than these two eyes. Right? Okay, I'm just trying to get y'all there. Now, look at the definition, 7th edition, what a natural person is. It is what? Indigenous. Who's the oldest indigenous people on the planet? We are. We are the original people on the planet. So therefore, that definition only applies to who? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Says native, and it says the original. Hold up. Whose 5% is up in here? Let's start with the lessons right quick. All right? What's the lessons, y'all? Come on. Who's the black? Come on, hold up. Who's the original man? Father civilization, God of the universe. So right here, the natural inhabitants of a country are related to birth or natural child. According to Black's Law Dictionary Abridged, artificial person is one person created and devised by human laws for the purpose of society and government as distinguished from natural persons. Corporations are examples of artificial persons. Corporations. Corporations. All right? So who made that? It says right here, for the purpose of society and government. The government made you into that. Continue on. Let's see what the government is in a second. Strontius homos. A man of straw, one of no substance. So when they made you a man of straw, you had no substance. Hence, you can't see, touch, taste, smell, or hear. Your 5 senses were stripped of you. Symbolically, they give you a clue within Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, where it specifically states that you are a 3/5 person. Hence, there's 2 senses particularly that were stripped from you, being that 5 is based on seeing, touch, taste, smelling, and hearing. Your sight was taken and your hearing. The other 3 was left intact. But if I came and showed you, you wouldn't believe it. If I told you and you heard it, you wouldn't believe it. So hence the term deaf, dumb, and blind. Deaf and dumb goes together, because that's your hearing. But the blindness, that's your sight. So the two senses were stripped from you. That's the Masonic code there. So here, straw man, a front. It's a front. Third party who is put up in name only, hence your name in all caps. To do what? Take part in the transaction, but damn, you ain't taking a part in it. Your name is in all caps, but nobody told you that there's a transaction going on and you can also take part in it. Uh-oh. It's a nominal party to a transaction. One who acts as an agent for another for the purpose of taking title to real property and executing whatever documents or instruments the principal may direct. So, who's this agent? The agent obviously is anyone who claimed to be the trustee of your estate. Because somebody is claiming to be the trustee of your estate. It's not you. Anyone wrote the executive letter or the executrix letter? Okay, that means you're not in control of your estate. Your estate is that name in all caps. See, they made you civilis mortuus. They made you dead in the eyes of the law. Hence the name in all caps. That's the straw man. Hold up. Dorothy, Yellow Brick Road. First one she meets is who? Straw man. Straw man. The Scarecrow. Second one she meets is who? Tin Man. Oh, taxpayer identification number. TIN. Okay. So every entity Dorothy met on the Yellow Brick Road hence led to the Emerald City, which is the Federal Reserve Bank. The yellow bricks was the gold in which that was once at Fort Knox. It ain't there now. You gotta go to London to get that. The Queen got that. She also controls and owns the Social Security Administration with your name all caps. Continue on. So your name is all caps, letter written. What it says, a proper name appearing in all caps letter falls outside the rules of English grammar. I didn't write that. All right? What it says, legal fiction, proper, fictitious name, artificial person, idiom, synonym, and informer. So your name in all caps made you the informer. Who squealed on you? Or who you squealed? Hold up, I get it, hold up. If you go to the birth certificate, you will see your mom's, right on your mother's name, it says informant. She snitched on you. And then when she put your little footprints on top of that long form, live claim birth, you became the informer. Okay, continue on. Here it is, civilis mortuus, civilly dead, dead in view of the law. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights. But as Malcolm said, you can't have civil rights unless you are recognized as a human being. Or do you really want to be recognized as a human being? Hold up, let's continue on. But here, in full life, continuing in both physical and civil existence, this the opposite of civilis mortuus is in full life. And this is, what that is, neither actually dead or civically mortuus. So that means to be civilis mortuus means you don't have to be actually dead. Uh-oh, they just gave you a clue. You don't have to be actually dead. But we'll give you the name Negro, and which means what? Negro comes from the word necro, which means dead. Okay, now it makes sense on how my grandmother can be Negro, my mother can be colored, and I can be black. In 3 generations. All just within the last 100 years. 100 years ago, you was Negro, 1900s. 1930, you became coloreds. 1960, you became black. 1990, you became African American. 2020, Moors. Oh shit. We're progressing. We're progressing. I love it. We're getting there. We finally figuring out who we are. So here, government, derived from the Latin word, what? Governare, meaning to control. So that means your name in all caps is a way to be what? Controlled. And the Latin noun means, mentis, means mind, to control the mind. Hence, government. So the government made you into this particular state or artificial person for the purposes of controlling your mind. So by the Moors coming and teaching you, which is what we call the Renaissance of the Moors, we're now breaking the mind control in which they have placed on us by way of the fraudulent government, because when you go to the United States Supreme Court case law, this is what this says, Cruder versus Neal, North Carolina. It says there, every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. That right there just broke the whole mind control game that the government set up. Because the government, which is i.e. the United States Supreme Court case, laws, states, he is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow men without his consent. So that means that if you don't, you see what happened? So you don't give consent, you just broke what? The mind control. If you give consent, then you're a robot, you're a sheeple being led to slaughter. You don't give consent, you just broke it. I didn't write this. Continue on. So the Supreme Court of Colorado ruled this: natural rights, inherited rights, and liberties are not the creatures of constitutional provisions either at the national or state level. So should it be 2 million brothers and sisters in jail? That means they consented. What my wife and I do, first thing we do when we go in there, we state for the record, we do not consent to the proceedings.
Your Honor, with all due respect.
With all due respect. That's duly noted. Thank you. In other words, that means, stenographer, write that shit down. Type it. Now, right here, the inherited human freedoms which mankind is endowed or antecedent to all earthly governments, rights that cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws. So this here, United States Supreme Court case law, also breaks the confines of the mind control. If you follow it, it states right there that your rights cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws. That coincides to the one that we just read, where man is not to have to be he don't have to abide by any government. You see? He's independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. Continue on. All right, continue on. So, this is between the Republican characteristic versus the Democratic, all right, or demos, because the word democracy comes from the word demos, which means ruled by demons. Okay? And I said that in court, and they got fiery mad, boy. The judge got up, took his robe off, walked the hell out the courtroom. He came back in, put his head down on the desk. Maybe I was revealing a little bit too much.
You ain't take no oath.
Thank you, but I ain't take the oath. I ain't got to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution is supposed to guarantee me my damn unalienable rights, which is prescribed by nature, by God, which I don't have to consent to unless I want to. So, if you understand, in commercial field, murder is $4 million. Robbery is $2 million. Kidnapping is $1 million. And if you understand that by writing up your bill of exchange, i.e. money order, using check paper that you can get actually from Staples, Office Max, Office Depot, you can actually write up your own bond, which is based on the exemption account, which is on the back of your Social Security card, which is part of the 12 Federal Reserve banks. Uh-oh, I'm going a little ahead of myself. Right here, the jure government, which means what? Stand in truth. The jure means to stand in truth. De facto means not factual, not actual. This is not actual government. Democracy is not actual government because the Constitution even states itself that there's only one form of government, and that's a Republican form of government. That is not a democracy. So here, constitutional legislation, unconstitutional legislation, such as what? The gun bills, right? Come on. The drug bills, 3 strikes and you're out. Come on.
Stand your ground.
Stand your grounds, which you can already do that anyway. Remember, we just showed you that's prescribed by God. That's natural law for man to have to protect himself, herself, against any bodily harm. All right? That's rules of engagement. That's the art of Sun Tzu, the art of war. That is part of man's fundamental rights as living on this planet. Is what? Preservation, survival, fight or flight. Even though that's the reptilian portion of the brain, you learn martial arts in order to discipline that portion of the brain. You understand that? That's why at the end you get a black belt. Y'all know that? That's why, right? You get a black belt. All right? It turned black because after all, first you start with white, and it goes to watercolor because after you whip so much ass, you finally get the black belt because you done did enough groundwork. you know what I'm saying? In other words, if you had a white belt after you know what I'm saying, after 3 years, it's going to turn black. Right? All that tumbling, flipping, blocking, kicking, then go striking, it's getting dirty. So so it became black because it showed you the progression. That actually comes off the walls of ancient Kemet. On the walls of Amenhet, you will see 2 brothers, and one is passing this black belt, which actually is intertwined like DNA, to the next one, and he puts it around his waist. This is on the walls. This dates back 4,000 years ago, over 4,000 years ago. Okay? Actually says date back 4,000 BC, so that actually would be 6,000 years if you go to that particular side of the temple. There's another place in which that you see the Nubians fighting at, in which they dates back 4,000 years, which is about 2,200 years ago. All right? So you see how these laws, all right, are different within this democracy as compared to the republic. Continue on. The main one you want to see is this one here. Go back one. You see this? Fake, prima facie, real, actual. Constitutional law versus color of law. You want to make sure that because this is how you became colored. This is the reason why they called you colored by 1930, thanks to W.B. Du Bois. Okay? Thanks to W.B. Du Bois. Jesse Jackson got everybody being called African American now. All right? So these, you can actually go back and pinpoint the fools who did this to you. And you already know W.B. Du Bois, as much as he had to realize, because he's Boule, then he found out what was really going on by the 1940s, you know what I'm saying, going into the 50s, he ends up himself going to Africa when he stopped Marcus Garvey, calling him a black ape. All right, and disrespecting him for having the idea of going over there and getting the resources in order to build civilization here. And rather that it comes from us than it would from who? The Albion, the European. Marcus Garvey said, I ain't had the idea of taking all of you there because some of y'all lazy. Y'all ain't gonna be working. You'll be trying to sip martinis and daiquiris and shit on the shores of the water. Y'all gonna be chilling. No, we're trying to go over here and get these diamonds and gold and platinum and everything, uranium, everything that the European is using to build civilization. If the Rockefellers can do it, we can do it. If the Fords can do it, we can do it. If the Cockanees can do it, we can do it. If the Morgans can do it, we can do it. This is what Marcus Garvey said. All right, so continue on. As you see here, this is go to Dunn and Bradstreet, in which that you will see House of Representatives of the United States is also traded as what? The Office of the Law Revision Council. That's how they're going to put you on the cutter of law. So they're a corporation. Congress is a corporation. The United States is a corporation. Did y'all see Senator Allen? I think he's from Connecticut. Senator Allen, not Senator, House Representative Allen. He said that President Obama is the CEO of this corporation called the United States. He said it plain as day. You can look it up on YouTube. Representative Allen. All right? So, we begin to start thinking, even Martin Luther King came to the conclusion, where do we go from here? Chaos of community? He says, we're approaching areas where the voice of the Constitution is not clear. We have left the realm of constitutional rights and we are entering the area of human rights. Malcolm, civil rights versus human rights. Human rights comes before civil rights. You cannot get civil rights until you have human rights. Human rights represents the right to human being. Whenever you are respected and recognized as a human being, your civil rights are automatic. No, you have to get recognition of human rights first. The Constitution classified our people as 3/5 of a man, which meant subhuman, not a complete human, or once a human characteristic was completely destroyed, this gave them justification to treat us like we were animals. Then it is also justified they're selling us. If the black man, human rights has been respected, he never would have been a slave here in America. And if his human rights has been restored by the Emancipation Proclamation, automatically we would have been citizens after the Civil War. So we must be recognized as human beings. Our human rights must be respected before we can ever be regarded as citizens, and our civil rights be respected. And the reason why is because we're not citizens even to this day, because the document of which that is called the Dred Scott case has never been repealed or changed. And it states, Judge Taney specifically stated that we're not, he said, Negroes and those of African descent are not what? Citizens of the United States, and he says, and nor will they ever be. He said, nor will they ever be. Well, that's good. I like that. I like that. Because the United States is nothing but the 40-mile diameter of what we call Washington, D.C. And if you wasn't born in Washington, D.C., then you're not a U.S. citizen. That means you're not an employee of the federal government, which is de facto. Because the real federal is actually the republic, which is the de jure government. So here, look at the Dred Scott case, 5th edition. It says, the case in which the United States Supreme Court held that the descendants of Africans and who was imported into this country and sold as slaves were not included, nor intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, whether emancipated or not. Whether emancipated or not. Dang it, I gotta say it over. Whether emancipated or not. And remains without rights or privileges except as those which the government might grant them. So now you see why every 25 years you got to get your voting right bill signed by one of the presidents. The first one was in 1965 by Lyndon B. Johnson. 25 years later, 1982, was by Ronald Reagan. 25 years later, 2007, George W. Bush.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so you said Scott versus Sanford.
Dred Scott versus Sanford, yes.
We are not considered citizens.
That's-
Or will we never be?
That's what the Blackstone Dictionary says.
And wouldn't that be contradictory?
No.
No.
To who?
Only in the sense it says in order to vote or become wait, let me fix my point. In order to vote, I want to make my point. In order to vote, in order to hold public office, you have to be a citizen of the United States.
They granted you the privilege. You know how they granted you the privilege? Hold on. They granted you the privilege through your driver's license, which is in all caps, through your social security card, which is in all caps. So they had to transform you into a straw man because they could not deal with you in a natural state because you was indigenous. Remember I showed you, natural person is indigenous. So they can't deal with you being indigenous. They got to deal with you in an artificial, remember, real or imaginary. The imaginary part is transforming you, Dorothy's, from out of what?
Okay, so then
Right.
that makes Obama what?
Well, remember, Obama was born in Kenya.
So they say.
Mozambique. So he was born in Kenya. He's not a U.S. citizen. However, he is the definition of African American.
Okay, but they said in order to hold public office, you have to be a citizen of the United States.
Right, and they give you the privileges in order to state that you are. And I'll give you a good example. My wife and I called in order to get our passports. My wife told the lady, said, well, ma'am, you know we're not U.S. citizens, don't you? She said, oh, yes, ma'am, we know. However, you want this passport, don't you? Hold up now, hold up. So we know we're not citizens. Yes, we know, we got that instruction. However, in order to get the privilege of being one, you better go and get your passport. We'll grant it to you. It's a granting process. So by granting you your passport, by granting you your driver's license, by granting you your social security card, now we can say that you are the straw man, the strongiest homo, and now we can do business with you. But we can't do business with you in your natural indigenous form because y'all are the original people. So therefore, we can't give you access through that clarity of information. We have to continue bamboozling you because the government means mind control. I didn't write none of this. I'm showing you where I'm getting the sources from. Black's Law Dictionaries. Yes.
So then the artificial person would be considered a citizen?
A corporation. Yes.
Corporation would be considered a citizen?
Yes. And you go back to what I read, you can see where it says it can actually do business as a citizen.
Taxpayer.
Right. Because you pay taxes on that corporation. That's a citizen taxpayer. You're doing a good job. Right. And by then transforming your name in all caps makes you a corporation. So that's when they can do business with you. That means you have to do a denial of corporate status, in which that states that you're not the corporation or the fictitious entity under colorable law, the artificial juristic person, but you are indigenous, natural, native, original, aboriginal, Unsatonk. That now you are the being of flesh, blood, sentient, emotions, spirit, soul. So now by putting yourself back in proper status, they can no longer do business with you. Unless you give them consent. The consent is this. When you go to court, the judge will ask you, do you understand the charge is being brought up against you? You stand there. I see it all the time. My wife and I go to court, we up out of there in 20 minutes. Everybody else up in there until 5 o'clock. Because soon as we go up in there, we already sent in our what? Denial of corporate status. We already sent in our nationality. We already sent in our, what they call, well, restricted appearance. They usually call it special appearance, but you got to say restricted now. But we send that in prior to us even going. So now the judge, the DA, the judge see all of this, and they say, look, we don't want the other Negroes waking up. We recommend that you go on and, get them on up out of here before they say something in which that might enlighten them. So we put in our countersuit. That's the one in which that made it 20 minutes. When we put that in that countersuit, every DA came over there. Look now. Yo, I'm gonna tell you, the last time we went to court, this is what the DA did. My wife shut her behind down quick. She said, Your Honor, excuse me, but based on the rules of evidence, 901, 902, federal laws, but there's also 401 and 402 of North Carolina law, it states specifically that in the rules of evidence that any information coming from anyone means that it's
police officer to say.
right. But it means that it's hearsay. So my wife said, officer, was there anyone else?
In the courtroom other than myself and you at the incident question. And he was like, you and I were the only one.
Right.
I was like, are you sure? No one else? I'm sure. I said, okay, Your Honor, then I'd like to have the prosecutor impeached because everything she's saying is hearsay.
And guess what she did?
She sat down.
No, she ain't just sit down. She said, damn, that was a good one. And then she sat down. And the judge fussed at her and said, you get back in there. You fight. You don't sit down. She stood back up and said, Your Honor, for the record, I would like to say I recuse myself for the violation of Miss Kadera Tupac El Bey's right. Now, she said the whole damn name. So you know she was serious. She said, Miss Kadera Tupac El Bey's rights. And then she said, right, no caps. And she sat back down and it just said, duly noted. Go ahead, brother. Islam.
One thing that the people got to really start recognizing,
Right.
analyzing what this level system is saying, and we got to stay focused on certain words. That's
Right.
why the molecule is so important. We're dealing with a corporation,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The United States is a corporation under Title 28.
Right.
It tells you that.
Exactly.
Now, if you're in a corporation, there's preferred stocks, right?
Right.
Common stocks.
Common stocks and preferred. That's right.
Now, which one of those have voting rights?
Ha!
If you don't have any shares in a corporation, you can't vote. So everything they're telling you,
Right.
that's the fraud.
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind.
Right. And there's also preferred stock. So that means that there's even greater stock. So we definitely know that because guess what? This is why you go on the stock market. What goes specifically is not physically you, but it is physically your birth certificate, and it's sold on the open market to corporations. Other corporations buy them in what's called mutual funds and also what? Bundles, shares. This is how they're doing you on the stock market. You are the collateral for the debt of what is called the United States Corporation. So here, look at this. Chattel, an article of personal property, any species of property not amounting to freehold or fee in land. The term chattels is more comprehensive one than goods, as it includes what?
Animate as well as inanimate property.
The key word is animate or animate. So the word chattel, when we find out, is a French word that means cattle. That's what it means. It means cattle. Uh-oh. Bam!
Get him.
There it is. The brother said the Goyim, well, that started the Goy, because this is Yiddish. This is the so-called Jews, the fake ones, who is actually, the Ashkenazim, if you want to go by the biblical, but we call them the Khazars, because they came out the caves in the hillsides of the Caucasus Mountains, all right, from out of the Russian territory side into and converted into what we now call Judaism, all right? But what it says a non-Jewish person, Gentiles, hence one who is at the genitals. The word Gentile is a word in which they're saying that you operate at the genital area. Only thing you care about is sex. This is why they always focus on the sexual thing. This is why when it was lynched, all right, they wanted to do what? Castrate. Because everything based on the genitals. This is why they're so worried about the genitals of the black man. All right? Because that is the weapon, as Francis Cosmology said within ISIS papers, that can genetically annihilate them off the planet Earth. That's the weapon that you can utilize. All right? That don't shoot blanks. So right here, but they're trying to make you shoot blanks. That's what the GMO food is for. And the fluoride in the water. And the chemtrails in the air. Okay? So here, go ahead. A foreign nation, hence a Gentile or a troop animals, or a flight of locusts, Gentiles, heathens, nation, people. The new, strong, exhaustive concordance of the Bible. Look at this, literally, God means nation. It is also Jewish slang for cattle or animals. Hence, the word cattle is chattel. All right, so look at this. The word monster from the Ballotine and also from the Black's Law Dictionary says this: a human being by birth, but in some parts resembling a lower animal. Hold up, remember I told you that the Kundalini, as long as it's trapped in the 4 lower chakras, you are this lower animal, which is hence a monster. Because you would do the things of a monster or of your lower self. Lust, greed, jealousy, and envy. The 4 devils. You don't believe me? Go to the Nation of Islam lessons. Go to the Nation Gods and Earth lessons, 1 through 14. The justice lesson in which, or justice degree in which that specifically states, why must Muhammad or any Muslim murder the devil? What is the duty of each Muslim in regards to the 4 devils? You got to murder them. You got to murder them. So hence, right here, because you appear to be a human being, there's some resemblance of a lower animal that's there. So as long as I can tell you that you're a Gentile and you're not a Hebrew, which means you made the crossover, hence you crossed over from your lower self into your higher self. The middle path is here at the heart. The 3 lower ones is here, hence the resemblance of the lower animal, but the 3 higher ones here, hence the Holy Trinity. The word made flesh, hence the throat chakra, because that's where words stem from out of the lungs into the throat, out the mouth, right? Jesus, right? Y'all, that's what Christians call him, right? The what? They call him the word made flesh, right? Did I get something wrong? Oh, okay. All right, then you have the Holy Spirit, which symbolizes the pituitary gland, and then you have the Father who art in heaven, which symbolizes the pineal gland. Hence, the Holy Trinity all within you. So that is your immortal body. The ancient Egyptians called it the Aku, the Ka, and the Ba. Those same 3 entities are within Hebrew. The Ruach, the Nephesh, and the Nemash. Those are the 3. So that means right there, same thing. So you got to get into your higher self, right, in order to be recognized as not a monster, not as cattle, not as a Gentile. Otherwise, as long as they see you doing these lower activities, you are a monster. And a monster have no inheritable what? Blood, and cannot be heir to any land. This is why the name is very important. Israelites means to ascend. The word Israel stems from the ancient Hebrew, in which means to ascend to God. What is ascending? Your Kundalini energy is ascending to God. God is here. This is why we wear this cap, or the turban, or the kufi, or the yarmulke, or the little small hat on the top of the Pope's head. All of that shit come from the Ptah. Go back to ancient Kemet, you see Ptah on the walls, and he wearing the skull cap or the kufi, all right? You know, with the tagiyas and the what else? What's the other one? And the yarmulke and all of them come from. You'll see actually in the fourth man, what's his name? Amenhotep. You see him wearing a fez on one of the hieroglyphics or one of the statues that they have actually in the Egyptian museum. All right, so this is one of the main things. So when you were born, your parents registered you as with the government as a corporation. That's what these papers are. They register you as a corporation. That's why it's filed at the Register of Deeds. When you got to go and get a copy of your birth certificate, where you go? The Register of Deeds. Your mother registered you as a corporation. Continue on. Hence, your collateral. So here, the value of the birth certificate is unlimited. All right? You can put $100 billion in silver, $100 trillion in bullion, gold, coins, whatever term you want to use. Because the birth certificate is unlimited because you can't estimate the amount of money that they're going to make off of you if you live to be 65 years old. They estimate, based on the IRC, which is the Internal Revenue Code, that you would make at least $650,000. At least $650,000. Now, I think that is more so based on your weight in gold as a child. If you weigh 5 pounds, let's say gold, now gold right now is about $1,500, but let's bring it down to like about $1,000 so everybody can understand the mathematics. All right, so $1,000 per ounce. There's 16 ounces in 1 pound. The baby weighs 10 pounds. How much is that? How much? 160,000, right? The bank does what is called fractionalized banking. Fractionalized banking. In other words, they mark it up 10 times the value. So now, instead of 160,000, it now becomes 1.6 million. That's at birth. And it matures when you mature at the age of 18. It matures at 18. All right, so now it goes into the hundreds of millions of dollars as it's being a bunch of bonds and mutual funds as being transferred as collateral across the world. If you was able to go to fidelity.com or either the NYSE, which is the New York Stock and Markets Exchange, at one time you was actually able to put in your social security number or your birth certificate state file number and actually would pull up who had your birth certificate, your bond, what corporation had you, and how much you was valued at. Now you have to get an account, all right, on fidelity.com. Continue on. All right.
So we can cash in on that loan?
Oh, I'm getting, hold on, you can do it, babe, but there's a method to the madness. Right, exactly. But here, check this out. You see this? What this? That's at the bottom of the birth certificate. It says American Banknote Company. This is the bond number. This is the state file number here. These numbers actually supposed to go on your money orders or what's called your bill of exchanges whenever you're trying to discharge or set off a debt. All right, continue on. I'll get to that in a second. All right, so what taps you into it is the numbers on the back of your social security card. I've seen them when there's no number on the back. I've seen it when it's green. I've seen it when it's black. And now most of them are red. Now, there's a letter in front of the 8 numerals. The letter taps you into each of the Federal Reserve banks. As you see here, even on the money, it correlates. E is actually Richmond, Virginia, as we'll see. All right? But the Social Security account is the straw man's account and is listed in your straw man's trade name, not your true name. You don't believe me? Here it is. Helverin versus Davis. It says the United States Supreme Court ruled that the Social Security number is neither an insurance nor a retirement program, but a welfare program. Hence a privilege. Because of this fact, application for or use of the Social Security number, SSAN, it says, for one thing, is a tacit confession that one is so incompetent of managing his or her own affairs that he or she may appoint the United States government, the trustees, as his or her guardian, hence the reason why you're a ward to the state, hence an orphan. Your mother gave you up at birth. You're an orphan. You're a ward to the state. Why you think when you go to jail, the fool's name who's over the jail is called a warden? Because you're a ward to the state. What's the nickname of the warden? The straw boss. I didn't make this up. So, it says, such effective status is known by other names such as child of the state or ward of the court, and is legally known as the doctrine of parens patria. So within the state is considered the legal parent guardian of those under disability or unable to care for themselves. When you pay the first penny of the straw man's Social Security payroll taxes, you executed the contract and confirmed that the straw man and you, by default, as surety, was a child of the state, incapable of managing his own affairs and needful of guardianship. Hence, the dilemma. Okay? I'll show you in a second.
How does that work?
Talk about it.
Yes.
Just a quick question. How does that work if you go to the hospital, but you leave the hospital without naming the child?
Nowadays they'll make a birth certificate for you.
But doesn't all vessels have to have a name in order for it to be valid?
As far as they're concerned, really, no, you can deny it. You don't have to waive any of your rights. That's for being, at the mercy of the so-called hospital. You do not have to do that. Matter of fact, they'll let you leave, and then they tell you, well, you need to get back to us within 8 days or so.
That was the issue. They wouldn't let her leave until she signed the birth certificate.
Well, see, so,
Without giving any name.
right.
Or, she only signed it just to leave them.
Right. Well, we heard that they'll create a name. Because there's some of that desperate in order to do this. Because, see, the rest of this goes to the DTC, which is Depository Trust Company, which is right here in New York. You know what I'm saying? 55 Water Street. You know what I'm saying? The building DTC is right down there. You know what I'm saying? In Manhattan. So that's where that is. All right. But I'm going to show you in a second. So right here, this is the promissory note. You already know that because it says that it specifically as a debt note. If you're looking at the $1 bill, it specifically states it's a debt note. Continue on. In other words, an IOU. This is, of course, used to be real money in gold coins as it used to be there. Continue on. There's another example of one silver dollar. It was redeemable for that. All right. As you see, there was no $1 on the one in which that you have. Well, one silver dollar. There was not that on what we have now. But the symbols are still there. The symbols was put back upon the money by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933 because of the fact that the European borrowed $25 million in gold from us. Okay? And so that was a reminder. This is why recently you've seen during the last administration, you've seen Hillary Clinton in between the flags. This is why you've seen Obama and Michelle walking in between the flags. I'm talking about the flags. I'm talking about the red and the black border and the five-pointed star. All right, or what we call the red, black, and green. All right, as you see here, that was our government. So you find out that the original Social Security card was designed by Fred Hempel of Albany, New York in 1936. The creation of the Social Security account is known as the SETI-Q Trust, which refers to the beneficiary having an equitable interest in the trust. So someone just asked the question about how you tap into it. Here it is. It's called the SETI-Q Trust, with the legal title being vested to the trustee. All right. The question is, who's acting as trustee? You have to find those who are acting as trustee and actually fire them. All right, but here it is, Green versus Underhill. It says the IRS is the accounting and the collection division of the International Monetary Fund. As a matter of fact, this is called your IMF number, International Monetary Fund number. All right, it's also known as your prepaid levy bond number. Prepaid levy bond number. All right, so here, the IRS is the collection agency division of the International Monetary Fund, the bankers, who's the company owns money to. They're the ones who enforce oversees the bankruptcy of the company. They're not really your enemies. They are only doing what they was hired to do, and that is to actually keep track of the bankruptcy of the company. Now, being that they work in conjunction with the Federal Reserve Bank, you actually would see them as twins. All right. However, as you see here, your exemption is a bridge between the private side and the public side. All right. The exemption is your Social Security number without the dashes. That's your exemption number, or it's called your exemption ID. All right. That's without the dashes.
So that means I'm getting a double whammy.
Of course. But remember, yes. if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what the so-called founding fathers was fighting about during the Revolutionary War. That they was fighting because of double taxation without proper representation. And you're still getting the double taxing today. So that means that somebody did not win, i.e. you. Okay? But right here, this is Edward Griffin, who wrote, oh man, what's the name of the book? Jekyll Island. All right? The book was called Jekyll Island. He wrote the book, and this is what he says. He said, it seems that the Internal Revenue System and the Federal Reserve Banks are unrelated. Appearance can be misleading. It is true that a separate creation, however, they both was created the same year, right? 1913. As well as also, we find out that when you do the tallying, the IRS actually is nothing more than the collection agency for the Federal Reserve Bank. That's it. And they're collecting the debts from you, as the sister said, they double whamming you. Actually, it's more than that. Because you got to, if you are married, that means you got to pay a marriage license tax. If you have a car, you have to pay a car tax. If you have a house or land, you have to pay a house and land tax. If you got to go fishing, you got to pay a fishing license tax. If you want to burn fire in your own yard, you have to go get a permit. In some cases, have to pay for that. So everything you have to pay for, that's you being really taxed crazily. All right? But I got a way in order to get you out of that. Continue on. And you won't go to jail. The Federal Reserve Bank. You saw the E, right? Here it is. I told you that's the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. But go through the back of your Social Security card and it tells you who you're attached to, which bank. A is Boston, B is New York, C is Philly, D is Cleveland, E is Richmond, F is Atlanta, G is Chicago, H is St. Louis, I is Minneapolis, J is Kansas City, K is Dallas, L is San Francisco. The Treasury is also a bank. Oh, now that's a key thing there. Because if you look on the front of your dollar bill, there's two treasuries. There's one on the left and there's one on the right. One is located in Washington, D.C. One is located in Puerto Rico. All right? So, at the 31 U.S.C. Section 321, it spells out that the Secretary of the Treasury is the CFO of the Treasury Bank, who is currently the Secretary of Treasury. His name is Jacob Lew. All right? Now, continue on. Now, on your documents, and I'll tell you all the documents that you need right now, you need to have a copyright, trademark, trade name, affidavit. You need to have an affidavit of UCC attachment. You need to have a private agreement, a security agreement, a hold harmless indemnity clause or agreement with collateral listing. You need a negative avertment. You need also a bond for discharge. You need a grants and power of attorney, because you done fired all the trustees. You get that? Somebody missed it? So before you do the granting, you got to do the revoking, right? Okay. All right, so you need that. You also need a bill of exchange, a non-negotiable, those are called non-negotiable instruments or negotiable instruments, depending on which way you want to roll with it. All right? But it is a bill of exchange, a private bond set-off. All right? So you need these particular instruments in order to send to your bank, which is, as they said, the bank that we just showed you, which is the Treasury. So once you have all your documentation, you send that off to Jacob Lew, who's acting as the Secretary of Treasury, and on your bill of exchange, you are demanding that he open and activate what is called your UCC trust account, which is the Uniform Commercial Code. Hence, give you access in order to be able, 30 days later, to discharge debts. Okay? I know it's a lot of shit. I'm sorry. but we ain't even hit the plateau. Jacob Lew. Lew, L-E-W. He's now the Secretary of Treasury. He replaced Timothy Geithner. All right, Timothy Geithner and Hillary Clinton both bailed this last election of Obama. They couldn't take it no more. All right, so your birth certificate is also a negotiable instrument. What happens is that if you use your birth certificate, you can actually discharge debt. So what you want to do is actually go and get several copies of this negotiable instrument from your register of deeds and make sure that it's a what? Sealed copy. So now if you want to discharge a matter such as a court case, now you have access in order to do so, which is the original bond, which is the birth certificate. You enter that into the case along with a letter, all right, and also a fiduciary form 56, all right. So you have what is called a letter of appointment to the judge. You also have a form 56, which is a fiduciary relationship, and you demand that he bond that case out because your bond is more than his bond. Right. The reason why, because understand that any statute that they claim that you break, which is under colorable law, and is colorable, and hence why you call colored people, is because they made you imaginary, remember? So, since it's imaginary and there is no money since 1933, there's nothing backing the money that the Federal Reserve Bank prints, there is no, what? There is no silver, no gold, it's substance. It has no substance, put it that way, it has no substance. It's just like the straw man. The money has no substance. All right, so since that is the case, it's paper for paper. Paper for paper. All right, so here it tells you that it's a registered security because it's at the register of deeds. A stock certificate evidenting or representing the preferred stock of the corporation. The brother just told you about the difference between a common stock and preferred stock. And in order to have an interest in the corporation, you must, says B, connected to that preferred stock, which is i.e. that negotiable instrument, which is that birth certificate, which is the original bond. Is a pedigree of what? Uh-oh, where we seen that word at? All right, it is a document of title to what? It is a warehouse receipt for what? Your body. Delivery receipt, industrial bond between you, the flesh and blood man or woman, and the industrial society in the corporate U.S., hence the artificial person, hence the reason why they had to transform you into artificial persons. Continue. All right, continue on. All right, so how do you get yourself from out of that state? I gave you the specific documents in which that you can actually utilize and have filed at the Register of Deeds and then move them up to the Secretary of State in order to have them authenticated and apostilled. All right. If there's a court case, you can actually do a UCC 11 and actually send in that form along with that fiduciary letter and also that form 56 in order to instruct the judge in order to dismiss those particular charges. This is the reason why they ask you specifically, do you understand the charges being brought up against you? The first word you say should be no. The only word you should say is no. Then if they push you and ask you, why don't you understand? Didn't you graduate from high school? Or what is your level of education, sir or ma'am? Well, since you want to know, let me tell you. Well, based on the Dred Scott case of 1856, 1857, it specifically states that I am not a U.S. citizen. So therefore, you have no jurisdiction, Your Honor. Because you're not a citizen. The only way for them to have jurisdiction is you to give it by consent. But if you tell them in open court, and remember, you're not going to have a stenographer at the district court level. You will at the superior court level. So if you lose the case at the in the district level, just simply repeal it in open court. They'll give you a date in order to move it to the superior court. You say, Your Honor, I don't like the ruling. So I'm going to ask for an appeal. Right there in open court. You ain't got to go, do not leave that damn courtroom without you saying that if you lose the first case. I guarantee you, you won't lose it in the superior court. Because now there's somebody in there typing what you saying. Oh, ma'am, how much is that transcript? Go ahead, bro.
Very important, brother. I mean, that people know this too, because you got some very crafty attorneys.
Yeah.
So one got to be aware that if you use the Dred Scott case,
Right.
one of the things they're going to say, so y'all need to know, is that it was overturned by the 14th Amendment. That's what they're going to say.
That's what they're going to say.
That's what they're going to say.
Right.
It's good for the people to know that.
Right. Well, let me expound on that. Okay, go ahead.
It's equally clear for the people to know that them devils is going to say that the 14th Amendment overturned the Dred Scott decision. It didn't.
Right.
But you have to know what to say in reference to that issue.
Right. So
there you go.
Right. So if they do that, which I haven't seen it done, but as the brother points out, he might have seen it done. So therefore, we had to give you the information on that. The 14th Amendment was never fully ratified. It went before 28 states at the time of the forming of the Union. There was 28 states. 15 of those 28 states denied it. All right, so now as more states joined the Union and it got up to 50 states, it was never brought back before the rest of those states in order to get fully ratified. And according to the Constitution, it must have at least 2/3 of the states. All right, and they did it. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, well, again, brother, you got to be careful. And I think what you're saying is right for what you're saying, but I know the devils. Listen to this.
Right, come on, hit me.
Very careful.
Right.
It says all persons born on what?
Naturalized. Right.
Now, the Naturalization Act is what year?
1700. Right.
That's what they're going to try to do to drag you into it.
Right.
But that don't apply to you because you are indigenous.
Right, exactly.
You have to say that.
Right.
You are indigenous. That's
Right.
what you said earlier in the presentation.
Right.
So you all have to know that.
Right.
That's how you know that doesn't apply to you, because it doesn't apply to the indigenous people.
Right. Now, in order to help you all even further, make sure you get the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People from the United Nations. By reading the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, it states within Article 6 that indigenous people have the right to a nationality. All right? Indigenous people have the right to a nationality. All right? So that's very important, because even when you go to Webster's Dictionary and you look up the word American, it specifically states in the 1936 and 1937 edition of the Webster Universal Dictionary that American are color copper natives, aboriginals who was here before the settlement of their land by Europeans. In other words, you are the definition of American. They are not. They always show themselves, no matter what you read, as being invaders. If you go to the United Nations definition of indigenous, it states those who have a historical continuity here before the settlement and the invasion of their territories by the Europeans, as well as those who was brought here involuntarily to the New World and wish to be reattached to the culture in which they've been torn. Now, that means if you say that you just Africans came over here 400 years ago, if you're saying that you already was here, in both definitions, it states you as being indigenous. So there is no fight between the so-called Black Power movement and the Moors. We're both indigenous. It's based on your bloodline. If you have more free, you know what I'm saying, free person, free man, free woman within your bloodline, then you might feel a little bit more towards the Moorish thing. If you have a little bit more slave thing towards you might feel more towards the 400 years. That's based on your genetics. Your ancestors speak through your genealogy, through your genes. That's what it's called, intelligence. And what tells the voices in which that come from within your genes. Intelligence, that's your intelligence, is your makeup of your ancestral bloodline. 7 generations on your mother's side, 7 generations on your father's side. All right? So the key is understanding that, overstanding and understanding that. All right? Now we use ultra standard. But anyway. All right, so we have, what took place with them transforming you from a natural person to a colorable person. And so we're going to get into how to get yourself from out of this predicament spiritually, because now they have attacked you spiritually. They attacked your genealogy, all right? How they did that was through GMO food. It's called the genetically modified organisms. The word organism comes from the word organ, which means living. So there's something living in whatever that mess is that is genetically altering or modifying your DNA. That means that this food is inserting new codes of information into strands of DNA and taking out ancestral codes so that you won't receive the message. Right, Monsanto, the terminating seed. Well, if these terminating seeds is from Monsanto, what are they terminating? They're terminating your intelligence, your connection to the ancestors. Remember, you have ancestors in which that speaks through you. Sometimes you hear voices in your head and you be like, hold on, what the hell that just came from? And you might think that you're crazy or something, but no, remember, you are biologically, spiritually, emotionally, astrally, etherically, causally, soulfully, your ancestors, incarnated here and now. That means you are a concentration of all of their memory. So sometimes the portals open up and activate. And so if you have a question and you're thinking, oh, that answer came from God. No, it came from your ancestor. And yes, they were gods, because now they live in you. Okay? We understood that. Yes.
I'm sorry. Is any of the information that you were talking about before online or in a printed version?
Contact me. My number is 910-364-9099. That's 910-364-9099. And I'll send you the presentation. Okay? All right, so as we seen earlier, the way in which that this information is transmitted is from a multiverse, or what is known as omniverse, into our particular universe, into our particular galaxy, into our particular solar system. Each star is acting as a step-down transformer of electromagnetic energy, or what's called photonic light. All right, how do you know this takes place? Is because your endocrine gland system, all right, when the energy comes down at the top of the head, the pineal gland acts as a step-down transformer to the pituitary gland to the thyroid glands to the thymus gland to the pancreas, to the spleen, to the adrenal glands, to the women ovaries, all right, to the clitoris, for the male to the testes and the prostate gland, all right. So that are the 7 endocrine glands, or the 7 chakras, or what is known in the book of Revelation as the opening of the 7 seals. All right, that's what that is. That's all that is. Those are the 7 Elohims, the 7 archangels: Michael, crown chakra; Gabriel, third eye. All right, Azrael, throat chakra; Raphael, heart chakra. All right, Gimiel, solar plexus; Samuel, navel chakra; Uriel, genitals. Hence, the depths of hell is right here. So whenever you have your desires, they say, desire and fire. Y'all heard James and Tina Marie? They was not telling you nothing wrong. They were telling you what the heck is going on. You burning with that passion. Or as, what about that? Huh? Oh yeah, sometimes it was the wrong stuff, yeah. Urinary tract infection to anything and everything else. All right? So these are the various abodes of the transference of information. You have what is called the world of God, the world of divergent spirits, the world of divine spirit, the world of life spirit, region of abstract thought, which is the world of thought, region of concrete thought. Then you have the desire world, the etheric region, which is also part of the physical world, and the chemical region. All right, you see solid, liquid, and gas. But then above that, you have 4 etheric states, which is chemical ether, 5 is life ether, 6 is light ether, and 7 is reflective ether. All right? So, that's what that is. This is basically the same thing on this side here. Continue on. Just different names. All right? All it is density, the levels of density. Heaviest is the lowest in the light spectrum. All right, so you're on the lowest, which is the animal kingdom. Then you have the material kingdom, plant kingdom. All right, then you have the lower vibration level of humans, the higher vibration level of humans, light body, oversoul, angels, archangels, ascended masters, leaders of the spiritual hierarchy, universal gods, absolute Godhead, purest light energy, what is called, this is all atom technology, and we'll show you why. Continue on. 90% of your body is in fact stardust. Because all the elements except for hydrogen and helium are created in the stars. So they find out that your physical body is nothing but a star. You are a living star. As a matter of fact, a star had to die in the cosmos to form you into existence here. This was showed on the movie, what? Lion King. Simba's father, Mufasa, died and he became a what? A star up in the sky. All indigenous people around the world tell you the exact same story. If you go and sit with the Aborigines of Australia, they will tell you the same story. If you sit with the Africans in their native tradition, they will tell you the same story. If you go to what is called the shamans, if you study with the Native Americans, they will tell you the exact same story. All the indigenous people on the planet will tell you the exact same thing, because 300,000 tons of stardust energy falls to the planet Earth daily. Now, what does that mean for you being melanated? What are you supposed to do with that 300,000 tons of stardust energy falling and you yourself is composed of stardust? How do you encapsulate the energy in which that is coming down? Okay. Thanks to those dead stars, without them, you wouldn't be here. The calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your bones, blood were all cooked up in stars that died billions of years ago. So did the transference. Star, human, star. Go back. I just found a really old picture of you. There it is. Continue on. So we are energy or light beings, all right? Our cells contain light illuminating from the dullest to the brightest. Toxic food, thoughts, relationships, environment dims our light. Kindness, gratitude, whole foods, and passion brightens our light. So let your light shine. And as the good old Christians say, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. So, as you see here, melanin, the transference of what? God or energy, cosmic energy, melanin man or energy absorbing man, use of cosmic energy. It is done by way of your melanin. Your melanocytes encapsulate the light. Your melanocytes act as black holes in which that draws the light down. The 300,000 tons of stardust energy, we are outside. Think about it. Scientists have found out that we melanated people need at least 1 to 3 hours of sunlight a day. But yet, Europeans can only take 15 to 20 minutes. True. So that means that we had to stay in the sun a little bit longer in order to get the absorption is because we have the oldest DNA. So, if you have the oldest DNA, you need more light because you have more message codes to interact with your ancestral codes. You get it?
Is this the reason for the spraying?
Bingo. That's the reason why for the chemtrails, to block out the light. They attempt to stop the 300,000 tons of stardust energy falling because they know that this is resurrection time. See, they understood the Mayan calendar. They knew that 12 was supposed to be what? The beginning of the changing date for you and us, for you and I. We was already changing to begin with for the last, since the 1940s, we already been beginning to change. Children was already being born, what they call indigo children, rainbow children, crystal children. They already been born with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 strands of DNA. This already began. But they've been trying to stop that process. You are what they call the tomorrow's people. You are what they call the X-Men. You are what they call the mutants. You are what they call the movie Push. You have all these gifts and you're developing them, all right? You already had the potential for it because of your interaction with the sun. So they understood that prophecy of all the indigenous people saying the exact same thing around the world. And so they cooked up the gimmick of chemtrails, which has aluminum in it. And what happens when you hold a piece of aluminum up to the sun? It reflects. So now the sky around the world, by the major governments, block out this light in order to keep from you getting hold of it. Bingo! You remember that? Remember that, right? All right, so everybody remember that. That's the reason why the machines, right? In other words, those with the artificial intelligence, they darken the sky. All right? And even Sophia Stewart said, nah, that was supposed to happen to Neo. He was not supposed to have died in the damn last. That is not how she wrote that in her Third Eye book. Go and get the book, and she said, yeah, get her book, and you'll understand a whole lot better what really was supposed to have happened. All right? But they had to show that because he never would get the chance to see the day. Remember, that's the same thing with Moses. Remember, because what Moses did by murdering of the 2 Egyptians, he was not supposed to get the chance to see the children come out of the wilderness after 40 years. You know, so he got a chance to go up to the top of the mountain and look down and see them leaving, and then he dies. So he never get a chance to notice. Same thing with Neo in the damn movie. Remember the little girl at the end, and the oracle was sitting down, and the oracle said to the little girl, said, "Oh, you did that?" And she said, "Yeah, I did that for Neo." And the word Neo is talking about new, right? It's a Latin word in which that means new. But check this out. You also have a neocortex, which is called the new mammal brain, in which that sits right here at the top of the head, which is the frontal lobe area, in which that give you access to your various psychic abilities. The same psychic abilities in which that Christ supposedly had, in which that Christ does within you, so therefore you actually are the true Christians, which hence is what is called Homos Christos, which means the same as Christ. I'll explain that in a second. You'll see what I'm talking about. Continue on. And as you see, approximately 7e27 atoms is the makeup of your human body. Continue on. That's another reason why the number 7 is so profound. All right? So inside the atom you have the electrons, the nucleus, the orbit, so forth, and all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force that brings the particles of an atom to vibrate and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a consciousness or a conscious and intelligent mind. That mind is the matrix of all matter, hence the movie Matrix. All right? Remember, the father of the Matrix, right? He was dressed in all white. He was the Albion, and he was like real linear. While the oracle, the mother, and he said, well, if I'm the father, then of course, indeed, I guess she would be the mother. All right, so remember that. So the word matrix, the word matter, the word mother, all of that is connected. All right, because it's the portal in which that comes through. So here we see the beauty of melanin. Melanin is the fundamental unit of the universe and exists in 4 forms. Cosmic, which we talk about those cosmic rays falling down to the planet, 300,000 tons of stardust energy. Planetary, plant kingdom, which is chlorophyll, and there's only one difference between chlorophyll and melanin. That's a magnesium molecule. That's it. One magnesium molecule what made you green. And children are still being born today. If you look at the small area of the back where the Kundalini energy is, when they come out the womb, it still is tinted green. It's still tinted green to this very day.
And the reason for that?
Because that's the abode of the Kundalini. The Kundalini. The Kundalini resides right here at the base of the spine, right above the crack of the behind. That's where the Kundalini resides at. So at that same area, you will see the tint or the greenish tint around that area at the small of the back. However, as they begin to grow and iron begin to take over the body more, they begin to brown. All right? And so therefore, that is the rusting effect as they refer to it as. Iron and water, what happens? Rust. So, but however, when magnesium was there, which that magnesium, what happens as we grow older, magnesium begins to shut down. So therefore, for the iron to take over as the center, all right? No longer the magnesium.
Any information on how the epidurals turn around and wind up affecting the Kundalini?
Oh, you're talking about like the stem cell? The stem cell?
No, like the epidural shots that they wind up giving women during labor.
Oh, yeah, well,
They usually tap into
in the spine. Right. That's all part of their stem cell research because they understand the Kundalini. And during pregnancy, you know what I'm saying, the Kundalini energy rises. You know what I'm saying, which is what they call the serpentine fire. It rises within the woman in order to help her cope with the pain. 20? All right, so let's hurry up. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. All right. So, hold on, go back right quick. So here, in the book, Black Sun by Peter Miller, he states that 666 is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, which form the physical body. Now, even according to the Holy Bible, Genesis, in the 1st chapter states that God created man on the 6th day, or rather, we would say from the 6th element, which is carbon. All right? Now, if you go and research in the Holy Quran, it tells you that Adam was made from black mud. The black mud, bless you, is berakah, or gahuntai, or, you know, we'll get there. So what happens is that black mud is talking about your melanin, your carbon, all right? Melanin is made of carbon. So that's what this is all talking about. So right here, Forbidden Archaeology, the hidden history of the human race, Michael Creedmoor, Richard L. Thompson states that they found objects, orbs, spheres, in which that was made from metal, this metallic sphere. They said it had parallel grooves running at the equator that date back to 2.8 billion years. Now the question is, who in the hell was smelting metal 2.8 billion years ago? Not million, because Ashra Quavi will tell you about Decanesh, in which that was 2.8 million years ago from out of Tanzania or Uganda area near the Ododuwa Gorge, or what is called Lake Victoria now. They'll tell you about that. But this right here is 2.8 billion years ago. When it says the spheres are not natural objects and their origin is unknown, they obviously was created by intelligent beings. Of course, now the European will tell you, oh, being that y'all didn't make the pyramids. Aliens did it. Yes.
There was actually articles the other day on a site called Man Chronicles.
Right.
But they actually had a brother from North Carolina that actually went.
Right. His DNA dates back to at least 380,000 years ago. Right. Exactly. That's just his DNA. All right. So that is just actually. If you go and do some research, that means he had O negative blood type. And the only thing they did was state that they approximated that whoever has O negative blood, their bloodline has to date back at least 300,000 years. Someone who has A blood type dates back to about 20,000 years. Someone who has B blood type dates back to 13,000 years. Someone who has AB blood type dates back 2,000 years. So this has already been, researchers already done that study. You get How to Eat Right for the 4 Basic Blood Types by Peter Diamanto. He talks about that, you know what I'm saying? So that's the whole key, yes. Okay, so here, in Albert Churchward's Signs and Symbols of Promoting Man, he speaks about the Pygmies as the original and the oldest living people on the face of the planet Earth, all right? They also speak about the small brown men who was the earliest inhabitants on Earth. So now we know who was smelting metal, right? 2.8 billion years ago, or the Pygmies. Continue on. Here they are. You get this book, Gods and the Spacemen in the Ancient West. Hold on, why they don't say the Ancient East? It says the Ancient West. Raymond Drake wrote that, and he says the Pygmies inhabited Earth for, as he knows, 30 million years. At least. All right? In this same form right here. Now, prior to that, they actually was taller than that. All right? They actually was taller than that. All right? 65 million years ago, they was actually, what it said, they actually was 35 feet tall. And after the dinosaurs died off, which the dinosaurs died off, so allegedly from a meteor, right? Meteors hitting the planet Earth, right? Because of the dust in the sky, they begin to shrink. And so from 35 feet tall, they begin to shrink, and now you have them at about 4 feet tall. All right, and now we range between 7 and 4 feet. So the average height is now about 5'5", all right? But we're actually regrowing back into taller people, all right? That's actually what's going on, all right? So here, also the Congo Katabo, it says in the Pygmies, that's the name of the book originally, but it says the Twa of Zaire, right, which is talking about the Pygmies, as the world's most genetically pure ethnic group. It's survivors since the dawn of humanity in real harmony with God, nature, and each other. All right, so where do Europeans come from? Well, they tell you themselves. Europeans are not a primary race, but hybrids between Africans and Asians, according to modern DNA research. Europeans are mostly Asians, which is actually Neanderthal genes. All right, as they say, they were byproducts of the rhesus monkey. All right, so let's continue on. All right, before I get into the other information, I want to show you something real quick. If you go to Galatians, the 4th chapter, the 24th verse, it says, it talks about Abraham, his wife, Sarah, his bondmaid, which is Hagar, and his sons as being which things are an allegory. It's an allegory. Then you go to the Holy Quran, and you go to the 3rd chapter, which is the family of Imran. It says here, he who set down the books in his verses basic or fundamental, which is what? Of explaining established meaning. They are the foundation of the book. Others are allegorical, but those in whose hearts is perversity from the parts thereof, that is allegorical, seeking discord and searching for the hidden meanings, but no one knows its hidden meanings except Allah and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge, saying, we believe in the book and the whole of it is from the Lord, and none will grasp the message except men of understanding. So in both books, it talks about it being allegorical. You will see the definition of allegorical means a symbolic work. Masons say that the whole masonry is based on symbolism and is veiled in allegory. So right here it says a symbolic work. Then it comes down and it says symbolically expressing a deeper, often spiritual, moral, or political meaning. All right, come down to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and it goes further, and it says what? Okay. So the Quran and the Bible have fictional characters in it. Let's pick out the ones that they talk about. Continue on. So right here, 1 Corinthians 3:16, it says, do you not know that the temple of God that you are the temple of God and the Spirit of God dwells in you? Where God dwells at?
In you.
Okay. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 says, or do you not know that your body is the... Now see, just in case if you didn't know what you meant, they made sure that you understood the you was your body. Is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So where the Holy Spirit dwells at? You. Okay. 2 Corinthians 6:16-8, for you are the temple of the living God, and I will dwell in them and walk among them. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. I will be the father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters. So God dwells in male and female. So that means you can't say that they was excluded. So here, 1 Corinthians 6:19, we see the Holy Spirit dwells in you. We see right here, for you was bought at the price. What was the price? Remember I showed you earlier that that a star died to form your physical body. That was the price. For you was bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God where? So if you want to know what God is, it's in your body. 2 Corinthians 13:5, what it says? Do you not know yourselves that Jesus Christ is in you? Hold up. Go back. Holy Spirit, God, Jesus Christ, they are where? I didn't write that. You get a King James about that. All right? Francis Bacon, i.e. William Shakespeare. You get them about that. Okay? Yeah, so Francis Bacon. All right? And you know that had to be a pseudonym. But right here. All right, so this is the example of the 300,000 tons of stardust energy falling to the planet Earth. As you see here, solar activity and its effect on the Earth. Right now, we're going through 24 solar flare activity. And it says particles drawn to the poles collide with the atmosphere, causing polar lights. Hence, at the North and South Pole, you have the aurora borealis, which are the lights, right? Now, it says billions of tons of super hot gases contain charged particles. Where melanin is always up to take a charge. Always up to take a charge. Continue on. There's another example of that. Size of the, go back. Size of the Earth, size of the sun. Solar flare activity, what's called coronal mass ejections, being ejected on the face, off the surface of the sun, bombarding the planet Earth, as you see over there on the left-hand side. Continue on. This is the effects of aurora borealis. Continue on. All right, as you see, there's Roy G. Biv. The same colors of the rainbow, the same colors that come down through the North and South Pole and lingers within the atmosphere. Hence, now let's throw up some chemtrails so that you can get in communion with those energies in which that will help to change your DNA. So here, we see that you also have a North and South Pole. You see here through the perineum, and as you see here at the top of the head, the same spot at the top of the head in which that a child has that soft spot, the soul comes down and embeds itself inside of the pineal gland. That's why that's the opening or the portal, that little soft spot. And then by the time that child becomes 7, he becomes hard-headed. Your grandma is saying, sit your little hard-headed ass down somewhere. At least my grandma told me that. Okay? So, continue on. So here, right on the walls of ancient Kemet, they show you the exact same thing. As you see, the serpent biting his tail, which is called aurora borealis, right here at the top of the head, where the soft spot area where the Horus lock comes from, in which that you get the witchical term, warlock. All right? So as you see, also, he's sitting with the moon crest or the horniness, and it's right there. So hence, they show you the two areas in which that the energy comes down at. This is hence your auric field. Your energetic body. Continue on. Here's another example of that energetic body in which that goes through cellular division. At birth, you see the semblance of what is going on in the walls of ancient Kemet and what actually takes place through the mitochondrial DNA, as well as also cellular division called your blastula pores. Continue on. All right, you don't believe me? Look at this. Ben Shamish, Hebrew, right? What it says, the children or the sons of the sons. The term belongs to a period when the Jews were divided into what? Sun and moon worshippers. What the names? Elites and what? Elites. Uh-oh, Els and Bey. Oh, shit! I didn't like this either. Continue on. So, right here, Psalms 84:11, for the Lord God is a what?
Sun and shield.
Okay, continue on. Uh-oh, here it is. So the ancient people worshiped the sun, built the pyramids for free energy, and had a lifespan of 1,000 years plus. Hence, Medulla needs to be 969 based on the Bible, right? But modern people are smarter than that, allegedly, right? And what they worship is a man that they never met, pollute the water that they have to drink, the air they have to breathe, and eat GMO food. They die very young, and as a result, have no respect for life. But yet, we're pagans. Well, see, if you understood martial arts, in the origin of martial arts, you have Qigong, or the 18-hand, right? 18 no hand, right? Which developed into Tai Chi. That is based on sun worshiping. Where do we see that at? Oh, there it is. Right in the words of ancient Kemet. The rays of the sun is coming down into the palms of the hands, and they are channeling the energy from the sun into themselves. This is why their bellies are pregnant, because they are storing the energy at the navel chakra. Not because he's a homo. Oh, Akhenaten during the 18th dynasty, what he decided was that after the time in which that he began worshiping the Akhten, that he wanted to increase the fat around his belly and also his thighs. No, what that was symbolic to was that he was impregnating himself with solar phatic energy. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm going to teach you how to impregnate yourself in a second. Continue on. Here go, right here. The hands coming down. Here go, the hands coming down. Right? So right here, the hands coming down from Atan, right? Or within the Hebrew, Adonai. Atan and Adonai, same deity. So here, Greek is Adonis. And within the Greek, Adonis is known as the sun god. Here it is. Bam! Ra is sending his rays in their way. Red, black, and green, and yellow. Y'all seen them colors before? Huh? Because those represents the resurrection colors. Marcus Garvey wasn't just playing, he understood. Red, black, and green, and yellow symbolizes the resurrection colors. That's why you see, later on, I'm going to show you another glyph where you will see the thrones. Hold on, go back. See that, you done messed up the surprise. But here it is. Right here. They're showing you that as the outer rays of the sun influences the development, and as you see here, the pine cone on top of the head, which is the pineal gland. Also, internally, between the eyes, you have the spirit Dorf, which is the realm of knowledge, called the fourth sephira within the Kabbalah, in which that taps you into the clip-off, which is the backside of the tree of life, which is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right here in between the eyes. So hence you have the two serpents, which is the Uraeus, in which that symbolizes what we call the Washashet, or the Washito, or Wajet, which is the epitome of enlightenment. That's what that actually symbolizes. This is why you have the caduceus on the thousands and thousands of hospitals throughout the country. Continue on. So, now, you think they just took that from Aten or Akhenaten, who was praying, and as you see, his belly being filled once again with the light, and then you see the faggoty character over here, with the light coming down on his head, just like from Akhenaten, and he's trying to impregnate himself in some shape, form, and fashion there. You know damn well they can't even handle the sun, so that shouldn't even be. But anyway, here it is. God is here. That's the whole point. The light, as it comes down to the crown, it shows you that the light is here, the pineal gland, and so God is inside your pineal gland, which is called your soul or your higher self. That is where God is. So when you close your eyes and you commune with yourself, meditate, you actually is trying to tap into the sequency of your higher self, which actually formed the physical body into existence. You don't believe me? Check this out. When one dreams, when consciousness naturally shifts back to the back of the head. This is so that in case you have lucid dreams. One's reptilian brain stem, which is called the reticular activity formation, determines the depths of one's quantum realm dreams. It is via also lucid dreams one can contact another form of what? Intelligence. That's your higher self. Which the ancient Egyptians considered to be associated with what? Sirius. Oh, that's why you're a Syrian being. So here, in the essence, one's lucid dreams are one's personal stargate. So here you have the conscious centers of the brain and how it correlates to the chambers of the pyramids. The king chambers, the queen chambers, the chamber to the Draco. All of this is based on, right there, Sirius, Thuban, which is Draco, Orion, all right? So all of that connected. Continue on. All right, another place in the brain, all right, is right here. You have the Ark of the Covenant with the wings of the angels facing each other, which is nothing more than these wings, or actually in which that sits right there near the third eye area, all right? Same exact portion. This is what they talk about. You see the wings in between the third eye here. That's part of the third ventricle where the third eye is located at. The pineal gland, what's called the first eye. Continue on. So here, the pyramid with the eye, which is on the back of the dollar bill, is the pyramid is actually called a mir. The word mir is the word miru, which is at the word more, all right, which is the sun energies are attracted to the pyramid. What is that? Why is that? I've proven that there is intelligent forces or entities in the sun communicating, right? Well, forget that. Pyramids are attracted and sending of the sun's electromagnetic energies. Now, how you know that is because when you do your qigong, you'll feel the energy running through you. I'll show you in a second. Continue on. All right, so this is called Merkures, or the body's pyramid, which we get the term Merry Christmas from, or Christmas. All right, in which that you see here the serpent raised up right there at the uraeus, at the forehead, in which that symbolizes the resurrection of Jesus, which is the resurrection of the serpent. This is why Jesus said, be ye what? Wise as serpents and yet gentle as doves. Continue on. I showed you the doves, right? Was the wings over the third eye. Those are the wings. So that's the dove. That's when they said, remember in the Bible, they also tell you that Jesus got baptized in the River Jordan and by John the Baptist, and a dove came over his head. They talking about that area in his brain was activated. Let's get away from the spookism, because it's all about you. Okay? So here's another example, and look what's at the top. Bam. El, which is actually Adon, or Aton, or Adonai, or Adonis, all right, which is Christ. Now, all right, the owl is the symbol of the mir, or the meru, and of course, you know, the owl can turn its head 360 degrees, so hence it symbolizes the all-eye seeing, because it can see past, present, and future. Continue on. All right, continue on. All right, so your melanin is able to absorb light. Look what happens when it absorbs light. It turns into what scientists call oxyluciferin, and then as the energy transfers, it becomes luciferase. Uh-oh. So y'all scared of Lucifer? Well, I'm sorry. It's dealing with light. Got nothing to do with an evil being. Your Kundalini actually is Lucifer because it's the serpent. That was in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is your physical body. And it's based here, right at the base of the spine. So as you develop, as you see here, is right here at the genitals, at the base of the spine. It comes up. You activate chakras as you go up. And as you finish, you go back to the evolution of an Etherian, which is the mind evolution, in which that there's 3 bodies in which that survive death based on your transformation of the Kundalini being above the heart. You first have the soul, it's the spiritual soul, which is called the Ak, or the Aku, which is the etheric double, which is actually your throat chakra. Continue on. Then the Ka, which is symbolic to the third eye, all right? And then the Ba, right, which energizes the Ba to take flight off the earth grid by spiritual cultivation. It is the so-called rapture, or Nabara, or what? Nibiru, which means to be taken up or to ascend. Israel, Israelite. So yes, we are Israelites. And when you're Kundalini past the hearts, yes, you are Hebrew. All right? This is the spiritual context of what these names actually meant in the Hebrewic text. All right, so here you see the human aura bioenergy before meditation, after meditation changes dramatically. Continue. Because meditation seals up the leaks and holes in your auric field. This is what Nikola Tesla said. He says he knew that his brain is a receiver. In the universe, there's a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know it exists. I showed you what the core was. The core sits at the center of our galaxy, which is called Alcyon. That sun is thousands of times larger than our sun. I showed you that in the first glyphs. All right, so this is symbolic to what takes place. You have various bodies. You're a multidimensional being. You have your physical body, your etheric body, your emotional body, which is your astral body, your mental body, your corporeal body, your spiritual body, and your soul body. All right, these are the different names, and all of it correlates to this right here. As you see, this is a picture of direct cosmic energy coming down at the top of the head, sunlight coming down at the third eye, and then cosmic energy being stored in the abdomen, impregnating the individual. All right, that's what that is all symbolic to. All talking about your chakra system, the various stones in which that correlates to it, the various planets, the sounds in which that, as well as also, as you see here, even the 7 African powers. All right? All that is nothing more than the 7 chakras. So when you're talking about Obatala, Emiya, Oshun, Ogun, Shango, Oya, as well as also Ishur Legba, all that is talking about your 7 chakras. That's the same as the angels in which we went over. Michael, Gabriel, Azrael, Raphael, Guniel, Samuel, and Uriel. Same ones. They just took the Hebrew and transferred it from the Yoruba culture. It's the same deities. Okay? And it came from the ancient Egyptian culture, which also they had 7 plus 2 bodies with the Ren and the Shechem. All right? So here, you have the truth about the the Kaaba. So when you run around this Kaaba 7 times, all right, this comes from brother, right here, Brother Jason's joint, so give him a hand. I had to get this picture because he basically translated my class into pictures. So I got to thank him. But right here he says one of the 5 pillars for Muslims to make the Hajj to Mecca. The traditional Mecca is walking around the Kaaba 7 times, counterclockwise, which is talking about opening of the 7 chakras. Remember, the word chakra means wheels of light. So you're supposed to walk around each wheel and activate it. This is symbolic to them walking around the Kaaba. And then at the last one, on the last turn, in the corner, they kiss the black stone, which is the activation of the Kundalini. After they open the 7 chakras, the Kundalini can come up and hit the what? The pineal gland and activate it in order to state that now you have produced El Hajj, which is what? The pilgrimage. All right. Now you hear about the pilgrimage actually in the hadith of Muhammad being taken up by the animal called the Baruch, which is a being of lightning, in which that he was taken up into the 7 heavens. And as he reached the 7th heaven, Michael got out the presence of God, and Muhammad was able to speak to God one-on-one, right? And this is when the prayer thing comes from. All right, so yeah, let's see if we can make him pray 100 times. Muhammad was like, Well, how about 50? How about 20? How about 10? How about 5? Man, they make them do that. So you hear about that within the hadith. All that is talking about, the Baruch is the Kundalini energy in which that is like quicksilver or lightning in which that comes up the spine. You ever had feelings of the Shakti shooting up the spine, and you said it felt like energy shooting up your spine? That's Shakti, that's Kundalini. Kundalini Shakti energy, or where it shoots down the spine, all right? So, yeah, continue on. No, keep going. All right, so right here, we got the physical body of man being broken out to the zodiacs. Continue. All right, continue. This is nothing more than a biblical text and showing how the Bible is nothing but astrotheology. Also, how the 320 is based on the code of the structure of the body, which is actually based on what we call the G, the golden mean ratio, and the number pi. All right, continue on. All right, this is all based on Yahi Vahi, which is the 4 letters in which that, the tetragrammaton in which that shows fire, water, air, and earth, which you are composed of. Here go another example of that. As you see, the Shin which is spirit, is in between Yahi-Vahi, in which that makes Yahshua, or Yahshua, in which that symbolizes the old God of the Old Testament as being Yahweh, but the new God being Yahshua, all right, Yahshua. Now, continue on. As you see, the Yahi-Vahi, which is the tetragrammaton, is actually nothing more but the 4 amino acids, which are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. This is nothing but your genetic makeup. These are the amino acids in which that is the message codes in between your DNA. This is what the European is attempting to distort by you eating GMO food, is the codes in between your DNA. Now go back. Yeah. All right, continue on. All right, so you know that those 4 amino acids were showed forth as the 4 canonical jars of ancient Kemet, where you have happy, duamifti, as well as senufi, as well as insati. All right, so this is nothing more than the biblical characters of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which is actually human, lion, ox, and eagle, which is mentioned within the book of in the book of Revelations, as well as also within what we call the book of Daniel, and also I think is reminiscent of in Ezekiel. So right here you will see the 4 horsemen, which is nothing but the 4 lower chakras. Once again, thanks to Brother Jason. All right, so he done put it together, and right there, this is the 4 lower chakras of consciousness, in which that those are the 4 horsemen, which is these 4 basic chakras, in which that rise and get you in trouble and begin the plagues. All right, this is what happens when you utilize these 4 lower chakras negatively. They become what is called your devil. This is why within the 101 and the 102s of the questionnaire for Moorish children, Moorish Americans, it states how many selves are there? 2. And it says who? Higher self, lower self. Well, what is the lower self? The lower self is what? Is what everything that harms, right? Right? That's what it is. All right, so paragraph, that's everything that harms. That's the 4 lower chakras, lust, greed, jealousy, and envy, or the 4 attributes of the lower self. So therefore, anytime you utilize those, the damn 4 horsemen is getting ready to ride on your ass. Let's continue on. No, seriously. Seriously. All right? You don't believe me? Try that shit. And you see the cosmetic effect of it. And see what happens. All right? So here, your DNA is just like the DNA right here on the right, but it's the elliptical pattern of the star Sirius B and Sirius A as they transverse around each other in an elliptical pattern. So strong, in fact, that they actually flip-flop places every 50 years. You go to the Old Testament, they have what's called the 50 years of Jubilee, in which that every 49 years they work, but then on the 50th year, no work at all, right? They party the whole damn year long. This is where they gathered from, was observing the star Sirius. You don't believe me? Go to the Holy Quran in the Surah 53 of Najm, and you see that it says the mighty star Sirius. The Lord Allah is the Lord of the mighty star Sirius. So Sirius is the pinpoint star for us melanated beings, because that same elliptical pattern is what feeds and channels your DNA ancestral bloodline. We sit directly downwind from Sirius. All right, and now with the ozone layer being depleted, we was getting those energies directly. This is why they had to do what? Pull up an artificial shield called the chemtrails or the chemdomes. Continue on. This shows you once again the tetragrammaton, electromagnetic energy of Yahi-Vahi. Continue on. This shows you also the DNA composition right in your Bible. Then I saw the Lamb, which is the Christ, which is the soul, and then it says he was slain upon what? The cross, which is actually the X chromosome, right? In which that stands at the center of the throne is the 4 elements, right? It says encircling the 4 living creatures, which is the same 4 amino acids that I just told you about. All this is all symbolic, allegory, based on the human body, because where does the Holy Spirit dwells? Where does God dwells? Where does Jesus Christ dwell? So Jesus Christ is not a man from 2,000 years ago. Sorry. Now, only way he can dwell in you if you're a little homo. For the brothers, I'm sorry. That's the only way he can dwell in you. Okay? I know some sisters who's saving themselves for Jesus right now. All right, so here we have arm, leg, arm, head. Of course, the acronym for Allah. Continue on. All right, so based on the temple of the structure of man, you have the Holy of Holies, you have the holy place, and you have the outer gate. Continue on. Good example of that is in the book Temple of Man by R.A. Sawala D. Lubbock's, and also in the Ancient Mysteries and Modern Masonry, Charles Vale, he states, this is the true deification or apotheosis. Man is like God in that he becomes a God. Continues on. So here we have the Temple of Luxor, which is actually the Temple of Heru in Karnak, and it speaks about these various bodies. Once again, here it is, the Holy of Holies, the holy place, as well as also the outer gate. Continue on. These are called the secret chambers. All right, so here we have the Edfu temple, in which that is set up on the structure of the physical body again. Continue on. All of the temples in ancient Kemet is based on that, and so is the Mosaic temple, in which that you see, once again, the Elohim, in which that symbolizes the most holy place, was the Holy of Holies, the holy place, and then the outer courts or the outer gate again. All right? So here, continue on, we have the laws in which that correlates as above, so below, as within, so without. This is Luke 22:9, and the apostle says, what do we do when you want to prepare for you at? So where do you want us to prepare for you at? That's what the apostles asked, the 12 disciples. Jesus in the next verse says, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you, following him into his house that he enters. Well, what's the sign for that? Well, Brother Jason, another one, he done put that together. It is who? Age of Aquarius. So now we have left the Piscean age and have gone into the Aquarian age, and Aquarius symbolizes truth. So that means at this time, truth is being poured forth. So that means the 300,000 tons of stardust energy has increased. And so they're trying to stop the what? The dripping. They're trying to stop the dripping. But here it is. Even at night, you can actually still connect with the stars, because the chemtrails mostly is only during the daytime. They forget at night you can still absorb the prana in which that still seep through. So you can still sit in meditation and actually draw the energy down from the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Orion, Draco, all of these various constellations by simply focusing on the pattern in the skies. Mantak Chia teaches this in the book called Awakening the Healing of Tao. Get the book, The Awakening of the Healing of Tao. Continue on. So here we have the 33 degrees Freemasonry, nothing but the 33 vertebrae in your back. All right, that's on the Scottish side. On the York side, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is somebody to the nothing but the endocrine glands, and then the 3 basic ones, in which that symbolizes right here from the base of the spine, the coccus. All right, continue on. All right, you see the nerves extend from the coccus. Continue on. All right, here go the picture of the coccus, as well as also the part in which that is attached to, which is known as the sacral bone, in which that is nothing more than the sword of justice. We're talking about where the Kundalini energy dwells at, and they told you that justice is actually who? Within the Nation of Gods on Earth, within the Nation of Islam, and within the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they all teach you that Jesus is justice. So when they tell you that Jesus actually dwells at, remember, I showed you that Jesus dwelled in you, right? So now we're determining where Jesus dwells at the base of the spine, the Kundalini. This is the Black Madonna and Child. That's why you have the Black Madonna and Child in over 200 countries around the world, because that is symbolic to the Kundalini Shakti energy. And as the Kundalini Shakti energy comes up the spine, it awakens Kundalini Shiva, which is in the cave of Brahma, in order to enlighten and transform you into Krishna, the 9th incarnation of Vishnu, the fish. This is why the Christians have the fish on the back of their cars. You still see that? They think it's just the Piscean age. Actually, it's talking about the resurrection of Christ, the activation of your pineal gland. As now the water is being poured forth from the age of Aquarius, now the fish have something to what? Bingo. Uh-oh. Somebody getting this? So here we have the Jedi, Star Wars, and all that good shit. And here you have actually the sperm, which looks identical to the spine in formation, because actually the sperm actually travels up the spine, the 33 vertebrates, to actually become the Sovereign Grand Inspector General, all right, and get baptized in the third ventricle by the pineal gland to receive the spark of Allah, which actually is the soul principle transferred from the pineal gland to the sperm, and the sperm travels back down to reside within the testicles to be gushed forth later on. Continue on. And you became that Christ as you came out the womb. If not, then none of you would be here. Continue on. So here we have the digit, and right, go back. I'm going to show you the real digit in a second. We just saw that. But here the lifesaver, right? The lifesaver has many colors. The Roy Biv colors, red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet, right? Blue, violet, indigo. So you have all of these 7 colors, right? Now, continue on. So here you have the serpent raising here to what level? To the third eye. Here to the hand, which that symbolizes the equivalent to where? The third eye again. So what brings that energy up? The phallus, because it symbolizes sexual energy. Healing energy, sexual energy, kundalini, same thing. Continue on. You don't believe me? Here go the symbol. Imhotep symbol with the Caduce associated with Imhotep, the son of Ptah, still physician who later became deified. The symbol is what?
Healing.
Thank you. Health and what? Wisdom. This is why Adam and Eve got together and they conceived, and Adam said he knew Eve. He knew Eve. How he knew her? Because there was wisdom exchange. The woman symbolizes wisdom, man symbolizes knowledge. There was exchange in order to come to an understanding, a balance, mayat. So this symbolizes the same 2 circlets of that understanding. And you see here, one with the red crown, one with the white crown, and that's the unification between the masculine and feminine force called electromagnetism, in which that Tahuti is holding up, and he's transferring that electromagnetism through the unk piece, through what? The nostrils. So hence, when God said, I breathed into the nostrils of man and made man a living what? Soul. Right on the walls of ancient Kemet, y'all. And somebody got busted. Continue on. So here, when you look about the Anunnaki, and because y'all some of them Zechariah Ascension reading niggas, y'all love that. So Zechariah Ascension, you find out he mistranslated it because actually what Anu means on high, and Nageh means serpent. It's the serpent on high. And we see the serpent on high when the serpent raises up the spine and resides right here. You become the Anunnaki. Right. That is not no damn people, oh, the UFO and shit, and came from the planet Moldic, and it came down, and, you know, Tiamat, and, you know, and all of that, you know, and now you have it. Continue on. No. All right, Brother Jason put that one up too. All right, so here, when you read your Bible, thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me. Look what this rod and staff is. The rod and staff is actually the governing vessel and the conceptional vessel, which is talking about the 2 meridians in your body. So when you read the 23rd Psalms, the Lord shall be my shepherd, I shall not want. He's making me to lie down in green pastures near the still waters. He restored my soul for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Thou with me, thy rod, thy staff, thou comfort me. Oh, God. All right, so when that happens, this is really what you're saying. You actually are bringing down the energies, all right? That's actually what it is. And this goes back to right here, the tools of the M, of the middle C, as well as also of the high C, enabling a circuit of energy between the meridians to be connected, thus allowing a freer and more balanced flow of energy. Once again, the rod and staff, allegorical, remember? Not to be taken as an actual rod and staff. Okay? Not to be taken like that. So, here you have the various glands, the endocrine glands of the body. We talked about that earlier, continue on. They're connected, those nerves are connected to each of them. And now you have the union of the 2 lands, which is Heru and Set, and you see them tying a knot, all right? Right here at the symbolic to the 4th chakra, in which that it comes at balance. Heru continues on up to the Jid. This is nothing more than a spinal column. This is the sacral bone in which that they both got their feet on top of. Okay, continue on. Oh, you don't believe it? There it is, Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and created darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Uh-oh. Ooh, wow. All right. So Typhon, this is where they stole the Satan concept from. See the horns? He's horny. Be afraid you are not going to hell because you're already in hell. Set is your opposite divine self. It is called divine balance, and you need it. Don't let it, because that's your ego. In order to survive, in order you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to have water. That's your ego. That's your survival mechanism. You do those things on a daily basis. So it's not evil in that sense because you turn evil around. It's the word live. These are the things that makes your ass live. Food, clothing, and shelter. All right. Food, water, and sun. You need these things. All right. However, when you start using it egotistically, this is what happens. Continue on. All right, so we see Saturn is actually Satan, all right? It's the sixth planet from the sun, hence the number 6 again, and which in astrology, Saturn is actually the planet of discipline and structure, as well as also it is the functioning or the formation of your blood supply and your DNA, as well as also the structure of your 200 bones in your body. So when you read the book of Enoch and it talks about the 200 fallen angels coming down to the planet Earth, they're talking about the formation of your dense body, which is your bone structure, your skeleton system. By the time you become an adult, you have approximately 206 bones. All right? And guess what? They was actually, when you read the book of Enoch, they tell you that they was on a planet in which that is reminiscence to Saturn. So here you have within, and you don't believe it, look at the movie Lord of the Rings, that's what that was whole based on. But here, within the ancient Kemetic text, this entity, which you have the legs, remember the, when you read the Bible, they tell you first that the serpent walked upright, and then God cut his legs off, asunder him, and then he started slithering on the ground. Okay, here go the image right here on the walls of ancient Kemet, on the walls of Temple of Abydos, which is the walls of Temple of Seti I. So guess what the Bible says? Genesis 3:1-15. It says, and he serpent said unto the woman, ye said to God, you shall eat of every tree of the garden, and the serpent shall say unto the woman, ye shall die. And you know, all of that. Yeah. All right, now go to the book of the dead, where it comes from, the Papaya Vani, which it says here, man can become what? Immortal like who? Uh-oh. The reason why, because the snake became synonymous with immortality because this snake sheds its skin and rejuvenate itself and have a new body. So same thing with you. By repeating prayers to identify himself with the netters, the great serpent Sata, see, the great serpent Sata, this is the same red dragon mentioned in the book of Revelation, Kundalini, son of the earth man, was immortal because he was regenerated every day in the womb of the sky netters. In other words, the 300,000 tons of stardust energy fall every day, and you were supposed to be a sun worshiper in order to receive the glorious rays of the sun to make your life longer. Longevity, immortality. So here, just like Sata, Jesus called the Son of Man. And then you read, and Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the Son of Man be lifted up. Uh-oh, the Son of Man to become the Son of God. Uh-oh. Did somebody get it? All right. So the root chakra, here it is, the so-called devil. The lower self, the animal survival instincts called the ego. That's the root chakra. That's why it's the color red. All right, just like the devil with the red horns, the red pitchfork, all of that good stuff. Here, continue on. All right. So here we have the Star Wars. You get all the symbology from that. Continue on. All right. So melanin, the perfect super absorber of light in all energy frequencies. Melanin can rearrange its chemical structure to absorb all energy across the radiant spectrum, and can transmute and store this energy for later use. All right? So the 3 places that you store this energy at, third eye, heart, navel. The 3 dantians. Continue on. All right? These are the 7 bodies that I was talking about that ancient Egyptians talked about. The ka, the physical body. The cat, the physical body. This is where the word cat come from, and they're saying the cat has 9 lives because the ancient Egyptians referred to the cat all right, and synonymous to the physical body having 9 lives. You also had 9 lives: the Ka, the Sekram, the Ab, the Sahu, the Ku, the Re, the Kabit, as well as the Ba, the 9 bodies, the 9 lives, like the cat. Continue on. So, this is the most important thing right here. So here, in the ancient Kemetic text, this is the symbol of Shu. The same symbol that's in the back of the book of Revelation, the first chapter, 14 through the 16th verse, where it says that he had hair like lamb's wool, fear as if he was burnt in the furnace, as well as also eyes of flame fire, as well as also voice of many waters like very white. Sure, you're right. So right here, Shu means emptiness and he who raises up. Now what is Shu? Shu is the personification of air. Remember, God breathed into the nostrils of man and made man a living soul. So you was born with Shu. Who is Shu? Oh, hold on. What's the sound you make when you sneeze, y'all? Brother did it earlier. Who? Ashu, which is the Aramaic Hebrew name of who? Yahshua, which means in Hebrew, salvation. The breath is what saves you because the breath activates the Kundalini to move up beyond the 4 chakras, which is the 4 devils. So therefore, as you get into your mortal bodies, you are saved. Now you're saved. Not just walking around being a hypocritical Christian. Continue on. And you know what they do. They do lust, greed, jealousy, and envy every day. More than, anyway, Yahshua, salvation. As you see, John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. So the only way you can get to the Father who art in heaven, which is the soul and breath inside the pineal gland, is by mastering the science of breath, which is Yahshua. Right here. Now the sound, go back. Now the sound that all of us make is when we sneeze. Yahshua. Continue on. There it is, Yahshua and the Lamb. This is why you see the hieroglyphics of the Yahshua and the Lamb from ancient Ethiopian, ancient Egyptian, all the way into the Greek, Roman. All of them got it. Continue on. Continue on. You want to know what that is? There's a good symbol of it right here in Dr. York's book, The Science of Healing, where he shows you that the pineal gland is what? The lamb. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And what he says the lamb is, let's go to it. He says the 6-pointed star and the symbol of the ancient time itself have been utilized by the elders who walked with man in Genesis 6 in the days when the the elders of the teachers would form the first mystery schools of learning to teach the children of earth. So here he says the sustainer of this realm is the pineal gland, the lamb. And he's surrounded by the 12 disciples, or the 12 conversions of the brain, or the 12 spiritual centers in the brain that relates to the 12 major pairs of cranial nerves with patches under the surface of the brain through the opening of the cranius on the other side of the organs in the man's body. Watch this. Continue on. All right. So we know that breath affects the whole body: nervous system, heart, digestion, muscle system, sleep, energy levels, concentration, memory, and much more. In fact, breathing is our largest source of waste removal. 70% of waste is supposed to be removed from the body by breathing, 20% by the skin, 10% by urination and defecation. So someone's saying when you have a good shit and good piss, that is over with. No, 70% of that's supposed to be removed from out of your body by deep breathing. We're too shallow breathers. We breathe too shallowly. So here, so check this out. It's no coincidence that the 8th element on the periodical chart is oxygen. It has 8 protons, 8 neutrons, 8 electrons. Go read Alistair Crowley's Kabbalistic writings. He says the 888 in geometry, which is in the Kabbalah teachings, is what? Jesus Christ. So you want to get Jesus, you better learn how to breathe, because that's the air which that was breathed into your nostrils that made you a living soul. You do it through the breath of life. That's why the sneeze is a reminiscence of you to breathe. Continue on. So right here, it changes the activities of the various conscious levels. Continue on. We're going to get through a lot of this. All right, here go the 7 states: interpersonal consciousness, intrapersonal consciousness, life consciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness, magnetic consciousness, infinite consciousness, gamma, beta, alpha, delta, beta, delta, data. The 7 states. Continue on. So the breath takes you into these levels. 18 breaths, reptilian brain, 9 breath, limbic brain, 7.5, cerebral, 6 breath, medulla oblongata, 4.5 breaths, pituitary, 3 breaths, pineal, 1 breath, all the portions of the brain are activated, and now your brain spans the whole gamut of the universe, which is 76 quintillion miles in diameter, based on the Nation of Gods and Earth teachings and the Nation of Islam. Continue on. Continue on. All right, so Morpheus holds up this battery to Neo and tell him that, Neo, this is all we are to them. So here, true, we are a battery, but the battery needs to be what? Alkaline. So when the battery is alive, the output electric charge is alkaline, but when it's dead, it's acidic. Hence, you're dead. So when your body is acidic, you're damn near the grave. All right, so continue on. All right, so here it is, acidic cycle versus alkaline cycle. All right, continue on. All right, the most alkaline foods, right here, stevia, lemons, watermelons, limes, grapefruits, mangoes, papayas. Make sure they're not Hawaiian papayas because they're GMO, asparagus, onions, vegetable juices, parsley, raw spinach, broccoli, garlic, olive oil, and herbal teas, lemon water. Continue on. You already know what the acidic is, and everything else you eat. All right, so these are the 7 sciences of mastering life. The breath, water, hydrate, food, nutrition, exercise, fasting, detoxification, sleep, and psycho-spiritual orientation. Thank you. All right, so these are the 7 levels. Science of matter, continue on. All right, so here, melanin may be viewed as a battery that is partially charged and can always accept an electrical charge. When sunlight or energy comes in contact with the melanin battery, look at this, it increases the charge of the battery to a certain degree. When the energy is captured, the battery has more energy to use in the body. The more, that means that the human being can charge up their melanin processes, the unique ability to what? Absorb the various energies, sources, and convert these absorbed energies into reusable energy, hence to rejuvenate yourself. Dr. Frank Bohr theory says matter is shaped and structured by light. Brother Mosey Abdullah said that earlier. These molecular melanin combinations eat light in order to maintain, expand, and evolve matter. So you want to evolve, how you do it? By tapping to light. This is what Masonry is all about. They want to get the light, right? So the more highly evolved a species, the more complex its biological capacity to use light. So if I want to know how intelligent you are, I ask you about how many Qigong you done today. So here, the physicist Pop declared that the human organism is not only carnivorous or vegetarian being, but also a consumer of light. In fact, it behaves like a what? Lumivarious creature. Now, let me name for you a lumivarious creature. You heard of lightning bugs? Huh? Okay. Guess what? A lightning bug only let 10% escape from its head. The other 90% of light or heat is transferred into light, and you see that, and that's what caused them to light up. Guess what? Human beings is exactly the opposite. You allow 90% of heat to escape from your head and only keep 10% light. So this is why you niggas are so dimmed. And so people talking about the extraterrestrials coming down, they can't see your ass because you're too dimmed. You got to damn increase your vibratory rate. You have to take in more light. Now, continue on. Continue on. Now, for those Moors that say I'm blaspheming, check this out. Let's check this out. Man is a thought of a law. All thoughts of a law are infinite. They are not measured up by time. The things that are concerned with time begin and end. The thoughts of a law are everlasting, of past until never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of a law, was but a seed that was held within itself the potentials of what? A law. And just as the seed of any plant or earth holds deep within itself the attribute of every part of the essential or the species plant. So spirit man, a seed of a law, has deep within himself the attribute of every part of God. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with a law. And while a law lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe on the plane of soul, the seed will have fully opened up and will have unfolded in what? The holy breath. Now, you go to chapter 7, the friendship of Jesus and Lamas, it goes further. It tells you exactly what's going on. It says 10, the holy breath is the truth. It is that was and is and evermore shall be. It cannot change nor pass away. Lyman said, you answer well. Now what is man? It says, Jesus said, man is the truth and the falsehood is strangely mixed, because man is the breath made flesh. So you want to keep your flesh together and be composed? You master the holy breath. If you want to be decomposed, then I got a watch in which that would, I stop breathing for about 3 minutes, let's see what happens. My wife got her phone, I make sure we call 911. Because right after your spirit leaves your body, your soul leaves your body, you will begin to decompose. So the breath, which is inhale, exhale, which is centrifugal and what? Centrifugal force. This force holds and composes and keep your physical body together. So when you lose it, what happens? At birth, you take an inhale. At death, you take a what? As you breathe in, the soul in which that came down at the top of the head, it becomes incarcerated or incarnated in the physical body. As you exhale, it is released from prison. Time's up, niggas. Hold on, I ain't finished. All right, so here, hold the Quran again. Here it is, education, Mary and Elizabeth and Zoe in Egypt. It says, teach them that Allah and man are one, but that through cardinal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from Allah and debased himself. So what I got to do is teach that the holy breath will make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. Mayat. So let's get into it. All right, so now beginning the practical exercise of what we're talking about Qigong. All right, one of the best positions and best things in order to know about Qigong is actually learning how to encapsulate light. So you want to make sure that your tongue is up at the roof of the mouth behind the 2 front teeth. And you also want to pull up your anal muscles and close off the orifices. All right, so that there is no leakage of energy coming out your body. One of the things that you want to do, one of the best ways of Qigong is this particular exercise, one of the best Qigongs. Breathe in.
Y'all want to stand up and do it?
Out. In. Out. Breathe in. Pause. Hold it. Breathe out. All right. That particular exercise, all right, you can do that 20 times a day. What it does is lengthens the spine, so as the Kundalini begins to come up, it will get rid of what's called the ethereal threads, in which that causes the Kundalini to get stagnated within your body at these particular chakras. So it burns off those etheric threads by doing that particular Qigong exercise I just showed you. So now you are able to encapsulate light. All right? So not only is the Kundalini energy moving, now you're able to encapsulate the light aspect also. Now, there's another Qigong, right? All right, we're getting ready to end. This is Wu Qi. All right, that is called White Tibetan Crane Tai Chi. Okay? There's several forms, hundreds of forms of Qigongs and Tai Chi that you can do on a daily basis. All of them do the same thing. Cause you to absorb light. This is what the ancients I showed you. You see them doing, right, the Qigongs in front of the sun. That was Akhenaten and Nefertiti. That's what they was doing. They was absorbing the rays of the sun. Okay, there's breath techniques you can do. One is called the alternate nostril breath technique, in which that breathe in for 4, hold it for 16. Breathe out for 8. And reverse. You synergize both hemispheres of the brain. The dendrites and the synapses begin to fire off between both brains, connecting the information between the linear and the holistic brain. All right, left and right. So now messages can go through, and now there is no confusion as far when you do your research and study. Okay? In other words, there's nothing now that will get you confused by anything which I just said. Okay? Is there any questions or anything? And we get ready to call it a night. Yes?
Your wife said when she was in court, she said you said you had no witnesses. So what was the rebuttal to that?
Yeah, the officer himself. She put him up on the stand, and she asked him the question, were anyone else there in this courtroom besides for you and I? Of course, he would have to say no. Then everything in which that the DA would have to say on behalf of the state would be inadmissible because the state wasn't there. Okay?
And then you said what?
You want to look in the rules of evidence. That's where your remedy.
Right, 901 and 902 at the federal level, and then you have to look at it for within your state. Normally it's around 501, 502, or 401, 402 within the various states. In North Carolina it's 401, 402.
But all you have to do is enter a doubt, a shadow of a doubt, and then you win.
Right. And that's the key, because that's a shadow of a doubt. Okay?